What is up, guys, and welcome back to this video. Sorry about the technical difficulties. I think we got the stream actually going for real this time. Hopefully it won't mess up anymore. But, so we're going to be breaking down the 2021 NFL Drafts, in case you guys missed it. And, we have Eric with us. And so, the draft's going to start in a few minutes. But as of now, we're just going to go over where we think the top quarterbacks in this year's draft are going to land. So the best quarterback in this draft, obviously, in my opinion, is Trevor Lawrence. Where do you think Trevor Lawrence is going to land, Eric?
It's like you said, Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback in this class, possibly of this past decade. Ever since Andrew Luck, I don't believe there has been a quarterback of this caliber that has ever played the position. Trevor Lawrence is amazing. He's your typical pocket passer, but just elevated on so many levels. He is immediately pro-ready, and I believe he's going to succeed in the NFL, possibly one day going to Canton to the Hall of Fame.
I completely agree with you on that one. Trevor Lawrence, best quarterback in this draft all around. I don't think there's any players that are even close to being as good as him or have the chance of going to number one overall pick. The Jaguars are going to take him at number one. I think that's a very solid pick for them. And, that's pretty much all I have to say about him. Just the best quarterback in this draft. The second best quarterback in this draft, in my opinion, is someone named Zack Wilson from BYU. Where do you think Zack Wilson is going to end up?
Zack Wilson, in my opinion, is going to go number 2 overall to the New York Jets. Zack Wilson has an amazing arm and has shown amazing accuracy at times. People question the level of competition since he did come from, a smaller conference and where he played at BYU, but I think that those people are just, trying to find faults with Zack Wilson. Zack Wilson has almost everything going for him. I would like for him to, maybe bulking up a bit and, gain some more weight. But I believe that Zack Wilson is going to go number 2 overall to the New York Jets and be an amazing quarterback in the NFL.
I completely agree with you on that one. Zack Wilson, second best quarterback in this draft, in my opinion. He's got great IQ. He can do pretty much anything on the football field that you can ask of a quarterback. Not necessarily the strongest guy in the draft, but I do think his mentality, I think he's got the mind of an NFL quarterback. So, the next quarterback we have on this list is Justin Fields from Ohio State. Where do you think Justin Fields is going to end up?
Justin Fields is my number 2 ranked quarterback behind Trevor Lawrence and above Zack Wilson. I believe that Justin Fields would fit great in the Kyle Shanahan system, so I'm going to mock him to the 49ers with the 3rd overall pick.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I agree with you on that one. The 49ers obviously trading up to the 3rd overall pick from... They weren't even close to they weren't even the top 10 coming into this, but they managed to work their way up to the 3rd overall pick. They're presumably taking quarterback. It's either going to be Mac Jones or Justin Fields. I do think Justin Fields is the better quarterback out of those two. We'll just see who they decide to draft. Justin Fields, an incredible athlete. He's a very good runner, very good arm strength. He can read the field incredibly well as well. I think he's going to be a great NFL quarterback. But yeah, I agree with you. I think he will be the number 3 overall pick going to the San Francisco 49ers. Or at least that's what should happen. All right, the next quarterback we have on this list is Trey Lance, the quarterback from North Dakota State. He's a very mobile quarterback. Where do you think Trey Lance has the best chance of ending up on? Or what team, I guess?
So Trey Lance is a very interesting prospect because he is not entirely pro-ready as of this day. He has the athletic traits that every team is craving in their quarterbacks nowadays. But the problem is he's just not, technically up to date, with his throwing accuracy and, just making the perfect spiral, stuff like that. But those are all coachable. I believe that there are about 3 different teams that could target him in this draft. I would look at the number 4 overall, the Atlanta Falcons. If they got to find successor to Matt Ryan, then they could take Trey Lance and hope that he can develop into a very good quarterback over the next couple of years behind Ryan. If he falls down a little bit, I would look at maybe the Broncos. They did just sign Teddy Bridgewater, but they may want to bring in a 3rd quarterback to push Drew Lock even farther. And if Drew Lock fails, you don't want Bridgewater to be your franchise quarterback. Trey Lance can easily fill that role and take them to possibly the playoffs or beyond. And then a 3rd team, even if he falls all the way down there, I look at the Patriots to maybe even trading up to somewhere around pick 10 to 12 range to grab him. And this is just because Bill Belichick loves drafting athletic quarterbacks. Yes, Tom Brady was not an athletic quarterback coming out, but we look at, Jarrett Stidham, for example. just athletic quarterbacks go to the Patriots a lot. I believe that Trey Lance has a great shot at going for the Patriots, and if he goes there, he could potentially become the successor to Cam Newton, who is a very similar quarterback in a lot of aspects. So of those three, those are I believe that the Patriots have the highest chance, but also look at the Falcons as Broncos as potential landing spots.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Cam Newton would be a perfect quarterback in the NFL to train Trey Lance. Trey Lance has almost as many rushing touchdowns as he does passing touchdowns. He's a very mobile quarterback. Cam Newton, I feel like, is a perfect mentor to teach Trey Lance how to play football in the NFL. So the next quarterback on the list, we have the quarterback from Alabama, Mac Jones. Where do you think Mac Jones is going to end up?
So Mac Jones is your typical pocket passer, but not in the same sense as Trevor Lawrence. Mac Jones is just, go through his reads, 1, 2, 3, 4, find the open target. He was in an Alabama offense with 4 first-round wide receivers potentially, and I believe that Mac Jones could fall down potentially. Some people are mocking him as high as the 49ers number 3. I think that's personally too high for him, but every season to themselves. But Mac Jones would succeed in a Bill Belichick style offense, maybe with the Patriots at 15. Or if he continues to fall, there's a chance that he could even end up behind Tom Brady with the Buccaneers at number 32 overall.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that assessment. Mac Jones, I think he's a good quarterback. Most people say like you said, he had all the weapons around him. He had the ideal situation to succeed as a quarterback. But what impressed me the most about him wasn't his first read, but the second reads that he had to make when his first read wide receiver was not open. He could make those second read throws that people like Justin Fields often could not. So I do think that Mac Jones is a very talented wide receiver. He might not have the arm strength or the athleticism of some of these top guys, but he does have football IQ, similar to Zack Wilson, in my opinion. I think that he can be a good NFL quarterback, but we'll just see what happens. He can there's a chance he'll go early, or there's a chance he'll fall really far in the draft, just depending on how teams value him. We'll have to see how it plays out tonight in the draft. So yeah, all right. The next quarterback we are going to discuss is Kellen Mond and Kyle Trask. These are 2 quarterbacks that have a chance of going in the first round. Do you have any thoughts about these 2 possibly going in the first round?
So I believe that they both have a very good chance of ending up in that lower tier first round quarterbacks. Let's start with Kellen Mond. Kellen Mond, again, he reminds me a lot of Mac Jones. Mac Jones, was your, like I said, a stereotypical pocket passer, but Kellen Mond has a lot more ups and downs than Mac Jones did. Kellen Mond will be shining 1 minute, completing 5 for 5 for 50 yards and, a touchdown. And then the next drive, he goes, 1 for 5 and 5 yards with an interception. He's very inconsistent in that manner. But if he can develop a consistency of keeping that higher potential, going throughout the entire season, he become an upper tier NFL quarterback. So I believe that Kellen Mond could sneak into the later first round. Look at maybe the Saints to drafting him. I know that they have Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill, but you got to have a third quarterback because those 2 aren't your franchise quarterback for the next 15, 20 years. And then on Kyle Trask's point, Kyle Trask out of Florida, he took over Felipe Frank's spot. He showed a lot of promise. He never really showed a lot of, a very high ceiling through his entire career. But I believe that if he gets drafted, his floor will be really high, so he's more of the safe bet quarterback, whereas Kellen Mond is more of your riskier, high-risk, high-reward type quarterback.
Yeah, I completely agree with that assessment. So yeah, Kyle Trask, he's a bigger quarterback. He had great weapons, so we can't necessarily make the judgment of whether he'd be good in an offense in the NFL necessarily, because he had Kyle Pitts, and he also had one of the top receivers in the entire draft in Tooney. So we'll see what happens with him. There's a chance to go in the first round, but yeah, I guess we'll just have to see with him. All right, well, those are pretty much the quarterbacks to have a chance of going in the first round. So I guess you just want to do a mock draft, kind of a mock draft of the first 10 picks in the draft on who we think is going to go first overall.
Sure, sounds good.
All right. So number 1, we've kind of already decided the Jacksonville Jaguars have the first pick in this draft. I think they are going to take the quarterback Trevor Lawrence. What do you think about that?
Like I said before, Trevor Lawrence is a generational talent. A lot have compared him talent-wise to Andrew Luck, who went to the
Yeah.
Colts many years back, who actually retired really young. Lawrence, like I said, has the ability to be Hall of Fame material. Lawrence,
Yeah.
he almost can't lose. I believe that I read something to where ever since his freshman year in high school, he's never lost a regular season football game in his entire career. And that's 4 years in high school and 3 years in Clemson, which went against, Big Ten and SEC opponents. It's just insane. Sure, he lost a few playoff runs. Recently he lost to Ohio State with an injured Justin Fields, but you can't win them all. Trevor Lawrence is amazing. I believe that number one overall is where he deserves to go. Trevor Lawrence is going to be a stud in the NFL.
Yes, I completely agree with you on that assessment. So yeah, we talked about it a little bit, but Trevor Lawrence, number one, seems to be a pretty solid bet. Number two quarterback, not quarterback, but number two pick overall. Who do you think is going to go at number two?
So Zack Wilson is going to be an excellent fit for the New York Jets at number two. Recently, they hired Robert Saleh as their head coach, and Robert Saleh is a defensive-minded coach, so he's going to want a young quarterback who can, learn a new system that Robert Saleh is going to be implementing on his own. And I believe that Zack Wilson's arm strength is going to couple nicely with, you got Jamison Crowder, you got Corey Davis, you got Vernon Davis. They have so much receiving talent over there in New York that I believe that Zack Wilson, he may not succeed his first year, but watch out for this kid because a few years down the line, he's going to be a stud in the NFL, just like Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I think Zack Wilson might be actually a pretty good fantasy threat as well. A little bit down the line. I'm not sure if he'll make a huge impact this first year, just because his wide receiver core, his offensive line is still a little bit needs to be rebuilt. But otherwise, I think that Zack Wilson can be a pretty good quarterback in the NFL. At number three, we have Justin Fields going to the Ohio State quarterback going to the 49ers. We kind of already talked about him as well. But yeah, I think he has the opportunity to become a very good, possibly even a top 15 quarterback in the NFL.
Yes, Justin Fields is amazing. He's my number two overall quarterback. I have him above Zack Wilson, below Trevor Lawrence. Justin Fields, the only negative you can have with him is his reads. He gets locked onto that first read and just doesn't go off of it. But besides that, he's just as good as Trevor Lawrence as everything. Some things he's even better than Trevor Lawrence. Sure, his arm strength isn't great. His deep ball accuracy, sometimes he's off. But this kid is athletic. I mean, you should see him run. I believe he ran like a 4.4, maybe a high 4.3 time at his pro day, and it's just insane. I would love to see him in the Shanahan system, which, requires a lot of mobile quarterback play. He may become the successor to Garoppolo. Who knows? Garoppolo may be traded later today. But we'll
see. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I completely agree with you. With that, yeah, Justin Fields, he can be a good quarterback. The only reason I'm above Zack Wilson is that first read thing. We've seen quarterbacks from Ohio State, same college as him. You guys like Dwayne Haskins, J.T. Barrett. They have also had that first read problem, and they've not been able to fix it in the NFL. So, otherwise, I think Justin Fields is a better quarterback than Zack Wilson. Just that first read thing, I can't put him above Zack Wilson in my right mind. So, yeah, all right, let's go into the number 4 overall pick. Who do you have at number 4?
So at number 4 overall, I think that Kyle Pitts would be an excellent fit for Atlanta. And, just give them another weapon. They already got Julio. They already got Calvin Ridley. They already got Hayden Hurst, who, while many are down on, I believe he was still a first-round tight end. I mean, the kid has talent. And so just pair them with Kyle Pitts. This will be an unstoppable offense, even greater than the Chiefs that we saw in 2018 with Kareem Hunt, Tyreek Hill, and all of them. I believe that Kyle Pitts would help this team possibly to the playoffs, maybe even beyond. And I'm just excited to see what happens.
Yeah, in case we didn't mention it, Kyle Pitts, the tight end from Florida. Yeah, he is a downfield threat. He is not your typical tight end, like a blocking tight end. He is an amazing playmaker down the field. Some people say that he could even transfer to wide receiver and become a poor man's Calvin Johnson, which Calvin Johnson, obviously one of the best receivers of all time. I don't think he'll ever become as good as him, but that was just a comparison with his receiving ability because he is such a good wide receiver. I mean, not wide receiver. I guess wide receiver potentially, but tight end. He's a great tight end. He can also block very well. So, yeah, that in my opinion, he's the second best player in this draft behind Trevor Lawrence, just the other teams in desperate need of a quarterback. So, yeah. All right, let's go on to the number 5 overall pick. So who do you have at number 5?
So the Bengals at number 5 have two main options that they can choose from. You either take the safe tackle in Penei Sewell, or you can take the stud wide receiver in Jamar Chase. Penei Sewell would help because, Joe Burrow obviously got injured last year, a season-ending injury. They don't want that to happen again. So get a solid left tackle who had one of the best college football seasons we've seen from an lineman in, decades. Or you could take Jamar Chase, a wide receiver that, when paired with Joe Burrow, had a 1,700-yard season, led them to a national championship, and just overall amazing prospect. I think they're going to go to Penei Sewell just because they need that protection. When you compare the tackle class to the wide receiver class, you can get a later round wide receiver that, is still very competent to help out Joe Burrow. You can't get a tackle that necessarily is on the same level as Sewell.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. Sewell, like if you want Joe Burrow protected, I personally think they need to take the tackle in Penei Sewell, if you know what I'm saying. Just because Joe Burrow died last season, pretty much. He was getting hit so many times. The Bengals have considered the worst offensive line. This is, the best offensive line that we've seen in, several drafts. There was no one even close last year to being as good as Sewell. Now, the argument you can make for Chase, though, is that Joe Burrow did play with Jamar Chase when he won the national championship at LSU. He was his best receiver. He couldn't go pro, though, just because he was too young, so he had to wait another season at LSU. So, coming to the draft, that's the argument for him, but what good's a receiver going to do if he's getting hit all the time? So, yeah, that is why we have Sewell going at number 5 overall. At number 6 overall, who do you think the Dolphins are going to take?
So we just talked about him, Jamar Chase, amazing wide receiver. He is, he has the height, he has the speed, he has the hands, he has the, football mentality. I love this kid. He's going to fit great at number 6 overall to the Dolphins. Pair him with Tua Tagovailoa, he's going to go across Will Fuller. Throw some Devontae Parker in there, Mike Gesicki. This is going to be an offense that many are going to underrate the, lesser components of besides Jamar Chase. But watch out, because the Dolphins are going to come up and, they're going to be a perennial and annual just playoff team year after year after year, all the way to potentially a Super Bowl in the coming years.
Yes. All right. So the Jaguars are actually on the clock right now, so let's just go ahead and start talking about them. So we're pretty confident that it's going to be Trevor Lawrence. It's about 4 minutes out. So, yeah. Any thoughts about the Jaguars? Is there any chance that any team takes any other player besides Trevor Lawrence right here?
I don't see how it's even possible that the Jaguars could not take Trevor Lawrence here. If a team offered a complete boatload of picks, I'm talking 3 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks, there is a chance that they may trade away this pick. But the Jaguars need their quarterback of the future. And, Urban Meyer coming into his first year, he would not have taken this job in the NFL if he didn't know that he could take a true generational prospect like Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is going to go number 1 overall to the Jaguars, locking it in. We've known it for years now, and guess what? It's finally happening.
It's about to happen. About to get a new quarterback in Jacksonville. It's going to completely turn around their franchise in the actual NFL world as well as the fantasy football world. So, yeah, just a couple more minutes, and we'll get to see the pick happen. The only thing I can think of that could happen, that they might trade away the pick, is actually a deal with the Packers. Today, Aaron Rodgers actually has been talking about not wanting to be on the Packers anymore. This isn't confirmed that he's not playing for them, but he has said today that he does not want to play for the Green Bay Packers next season. So I can see a trade scenario where Aaron Rodgers potentially goes to the Jaguars. Not very likely. We've only got about 2 minutes for the trade to happen, but if that did happen, that would completely change this entire draft. We will see, though. I completely doubt that will happen. But that is definitely a possibility coming up, just because Aaron Rodgers is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. But, yeah. All right. Let's see.
All right, so it looks like that the pick is in, boys. The pick is in. So we're hoping that Trevor Lawrence. We expect it to be Trevor Lawrence, so let's see what happens.
I don't think it could be anybody else. All right. Who are they going to take? Let's see. I don't think they've actually officially announced it yet. We did that a tiny bit early.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see.
So, while we're on the subject, who Dawson do you think that the Jaguars could target with their second first-round pick? I believe that is
their second first-round pick. They pick
overall.
again they pick at like 26, something like that, right? I think they can actually get
overall, yes.
Yeah, I think they could get one of the best offensive linemen in the draft. I don't think he'll do that. I think they need to get a weapon. I think they can get someone like Tooney from Florida. I think they can get someone like Rashad Bateman right there. But yeah, I do think that they're either going to take offensive line or wide receiver with their second pick in the draft, coming in at 26. I think they just need to make sure Trevor Lawrence either gets protection or has someone to throw to, because if you don't have either of those, you're going to die. Yeah. Yep. All right.
It looks like that Roger Goodell is taking the stage. Let's see what happens.
Pick's about to happen. All right. Trevor Lawrence just got picked. It's official, ladies and gentlemen. Trevor Lawrence is a Jacksonville Jaguar. What are your first thoughts on the pick, Eric?
So, Trevor Lawrence obviously is an amazing prospect. You know, we've known it for years, and I believe that Trevor Lawrence is going to, succeed in this Jacksonville system. And here are some quick clips that we can show you just of, different aspects of his game.
Yeah, so Trevor Lawrence, he's the best quarterback in this draft. He's a 6'6" quarterback. He's coming in at 220 pounds. He won the national championship as a freshman, as we already said. He's got incredible pocket awareness, accuracy, decision making. He's surprisingly athletic for his 6'6" frame. You can see in one of these clips. But he can actually get down the field and run. He's one of the most athletic quarterbacks actually in this draft. Despite also being the best passer, the most accurate passer, he's such a good quarterback. He did miss 2 games last season, but that was only due to COVID-19. After he came back from that, though, he put up over 400 yards in his first game back from getting COVID-19. So, yeah, a lot to look forward to for the Jaguars with this pick, and I think that he is going to be an amazing NFL quarterback. What do you think?
I completely agree. Trevor Lawrence is going to be a stud in the NFL. He's going to be amazing for fantasy also, like you said. He is your pure pocket passer. He's going to throw amazing yard numbers. He's incredible. That's all I can say. He's incredible.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Okay, so now that they did take Trevor Lawrence, let's talk about what they need to do with their pick at 26. So I think we've talked about it a little bit, but they need to take a wide receiver or offensive lineman. Who do you think they're going to take specifically at 26?
So at 26, I think that they could go with wide receiver, and they don't really have a true number 1 overall wide receiver. And I would look at maybe like Rondale Moore out of Purdue, or you could look at Terrace Marshall out of LSU. One of those guys could fit nicely in the Urban Meyer system.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. I personally think that the best quarterback that has a chance of being available there, like you said, is Rondale Moore. He's a 5'7". That's really small, obviously, for a wide receiver, but this man cannot get tackled by anyone. I think he would be a great fit in that offense, someone for Trevor Lawrence to throw to that's really big, not really big, but really strong and can actually get him some decent yards. So, yeah, I think that is going to happen at 26. We'll see for sure, but that's if I had to make a bet, I think they're going to take Rondale Moore from Purdue. But, yeah, all right. So the Jets, I guess, are on the clock now. I think they're going to take Zack Wilson. The only other option for them to take, I think, right here is Justin Fields. What do you think about the possibilities right there?
So, like you said, really the only 2 options available right now are Zack Wilson or Justin Fields. Zack Wilson, on one hand, is an amazing arm talent. He's almost everything you want in a quarterback. He's just incredible in almost every way. Some people compare him, like Chris Sims, the analyst for NBC Sports, has him ranked higher than he does Trevor Lawrence, which is, I think is a little bit too high for Zack Wilson, but it's not insane whatsoever. And Zack Wilson in the Robert Saleh system, with Robert Saleh's first year, I think would succeed greatly. He may not turn out to be an immediate stud, but this kid has talent, and I'm just telling you, watch out. The Jets in like 3 or 4 years are going to be stacked in all aspects of their offense.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that statement. Zack Wilson, great quarterback. I'm not sure how he'll do this season, but I think they'll take him there. Justin Fields is the other guy they have a chance of taking right here from Ohio State. Obviously, he's more athletic. He's got a better arm, I think, than Zack Wilson. But we'll just see what Robert Saleh does with this upcoming pick. They've got, 4 minutes left or so, and not 4 minutes, like 4 minutes and 30 seconds. But yeah, I do think that if they take a quarterback here, which is probably what they're going to do, I think they're going to need to focus on getting him some protection later on in the draft, just because the only solid starter they have on their offensive line right now is Mekhi Becton. Now, he is an amazing tackle. He's one of the best tackles in the entire NFL. They just need to build up the rest of that offensive line. But yeah.
I completely agree that, they have 2 picks in this round. First, go with, Wilson. Your second pick, which I believe is number 23 overall, take an offensive lineman, take a receiver, take a linebacker, take a safety even. Just take someone to support your team, because the Jets right now, they got some talent. I mean, they got, their receiver isn't bad, but... but beyond that, they don't have too many great players on the team. But, just watch out, because, Robert Saleh, I believe, is going to turn this team around. Watch out for that defensive pick later in the draft at number 23 overall. Robert Saleh wants to maintain, his strong defensive, focused mindset. And this team's defense is going to be amazing in about 5 years, probably.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. So... we'll see what happens with this upcoming pick. About to make the pick. I think the pick is actually in already.
It does indeed look like the pick is in.
All right. So let's see who did they decide to go with? We need to start doing this a little bit later. I think I'm calling the pick too early.
Yeah, we're getting
they say the pick's in
draft.
before like 5 minutes before they announce it. they need to fix that. All right. Yeah. Man. All right. So yeah, Zack Wilson probably gonna go here. Might be Fields. What would you think if they took Sewell or Pitts right here?
I would be shocked, but they're both such amazing talents. Sewell, generational talent as an offensive lineman. Pitts is a generational tight end. They have just so many generational talents in this draft offensively. Defensively, it's not a great draft, but offensively, there are just so many people that you're not going to see every year. Not going to see these guys every 5 years. Sewell is the best tackle to come out of Oregon ever, and he's possibly the best tackle since Eric Fisher, who went to the Chiefs a long time ago.
Yeah, that was a couple years ago.
All right, it looks like that Roger Goodell is indeed coming back to the stage.
All right, back on the stage. Let's see who he takes. Zack Wilson. All right, they have picked Zack Wilson. I think that's a great pick for them. Yeah, he is a 6'3" quarterback. He weighs 210 pounds. He threw for 43 total touchdowns in 2020 with only 3 interceptions. Those are numbers you just simply don't see anywhere. He is top 5 in yards in the NFL, as well as yards per attempt and completion percentage at 73.2%. He's got the best pocket presence in the entire NFL. Also a great arm, not necessarily the best arm in this draft, but he does have an incredible arm. He's the most professional quarterback in this draft. He can get to those second and third reads really quickly, really easily. Obviously didn't have the best offense to work with at BYU, just because it was a smaller team. These guys like Trevor Lawrence had all these weapons. He had no one. He had to make everything happen on his own. I just think he is going to be a great NFL quarterback all around. Yeah, what do you think about him?
I completely agree. Zack Wilson is an amazing prospect. I'm so excited that Robert Saleh got his quarterback that is going to be, his right-hand man for the next, 10, 15 years. Hopefully he lasts longer than Sam Darnold did at the Jets, but, that's yet to be seen. Let's just see how it goes this season, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, clearly the Panthers believe in Sam Darnold still. They traded another quarterback, so I think that the Panthers are probably pretty locked in on Sam Darnold. Jets, however, had a different vision, and that vision, apparently, it turns out, is Zack Wilson. So, yeah, Zack Wilson is an incredible quarterback. He'll be great in the NFL. So, yeah, they need to get him some protection now or some weapons. Get him something. Their defense is middle of the pack, mediocre, but their offense is a little bit lacking right now. Zack Wilson, obviously, the cornerstone piece of their new offense. They just need to get some stuff around him now. Yeah. All right, so the number 3 pick overall is going to be the San Francisco 49ers. Now, the San Francisco 49ers are in an interesting position. Most people think they traded up to get a quarterback here. But honestly, there's a chance that they traded up to get Kyle Pitts, one of the top receivers, Sewell to protect Garoppolo, or just one of the top quarterbacks. What do you think is going to happen right here at 4? I mean, not 4-3. We're still on 3. We're not to 4 yet.
So if I had to guess, they're going to go Justin Fields here. Possibly you could see Mac Jones or even Trey Lance come off the board here. I doubt it. I think Justin Fields will be the pick. But one option that the 49ers have is trading down. I know that they spent a ton of picks trading up to here, but there's a chance that they were just really hoping that there was, just a 1% chance that they could end up with Trevor Lawrence or Zack Wilson. Now that that's no longer a reality, they could trade down to maybe like 10 or 15 picks, recoup all those picks they lost, get back to their original position, and not have lost a thing with the chance of having gotten Wilson or Lawrence.
That is true. They might have just been here for the chance. That is also a very real possibility. Obviously, a trade's going to have to come through within the next, 3 minutes and 30 seconds, so for that to actually happen. But, yeah, that is a possibility. Now, the 49ers have been very open about talking about their love for Mac Jones, a quarterback here, the Alabama quarterback right here. I think he's the 5th best quarterback in this draft. We're 3 picks in. I don't think that they should take him here, but obviously Shanahan has specifically talked about Mac Jones being a quarterback that they would consider drafting right here. Justin Fields, the other guy. I really think personally it's between Mac Jones and Justin Fields. Yeah, what are your thoughts about the Mac Jones or Justin Fields?
Like I said before, Justin Fields is the superior quarterback in almost every manner, but Mac Jones does have a lot of good things going for him. Mac Jones was in possibly the most NFL-ready offense. Like, every guy on that Alabama offense is probably a 4th rounder or higher. And that's 4th round is like the worst guys. We're talking like Deontay Brown, just like the worst of the worst at Alabama that are the starters. But, there's still amazing talents. I mean, Mac Jones, amazing guy. I like Justin Fields more because he has a higher ceiling. But Mac Jones, I think day one could give you more opportunity. And if the 49ers want to make another Super Bowl run, if they want to just resurrect their old fandom. They just want to keep it going. They got the young defense now. You got Nick Bosa back. I hope that they re-sign Richard Sherman. I doubt that they will, but, there's always a chance. They got Trent Williams re-signed for their left tackle, who just amazing tackle. He's going to protect whoever he goes. I don't care if he's going against Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa is not going to win against Trent Williams. And so I believe that if Justin Fields goes to the Shanahan system, he's going to become one of the premier quarterbacks in this league.
I completely agree with you on that. Justin Fields, I feel like he's more of a plug-and-play player. Like, if they draft Fields, I think they might trade away Jimmy Garoppolo in the following days. But if they do take Mac Jones, I think this is an opportunity for Mac Jones to grow behind Jimmy Garoppolo and learn some things about the NFL. So, yeah, I think it's a possibility we might see happen if they do take Mac Jones, keeping Jimmy Garoppolo on the team. But, yeah, this pick's coming up in 1 minute and 30 seconds. Now, obviously, the 49ers, they have George Kittle, one of the best tight ends in the entire NFL. So there's no need to take Pitt really right here unless they want 2 of the best tight ends in the NFL. I don't really think they'll do that. Sewell's still available right now, but they do have they already have great tackles right now, so there's no way for them to do that. The only 2 viable options right now are to trade down or to take one of these top quarterbacks right here. But, yeah, here they go. About to make the pick in a minute or so. So, yeah, the one thing to note about Justin Fields, quarterback from Ohio State, is he actually committed to sign at Georgia when he first came to college or whatever, and he actually got benched behind Jake Fromm. So he had to transfer to Ohio State to become a starting quarterback. But at Ohio State, he blossomed into this incredible quarterback over the past 2 seasons. He just very good in every possible aspect you could think about. But yeah, that's something just to note. He did actually, at one point, play for Georgia. But, yeah.
All right, so it looks like that the pick is indeed in.
All right. Let's see. Hopefully we're not calling a little bit too early this time. They might actually announce it on time this time.
Let's hope.
I guess we can hope. All right. Okay, so, yeah. Okay. For a second, I thought a trade happened. They already traded for this pick. They didn't trade down. Man. All right.
All right, guys, do remember in the chat, if you have a question about the draft, leave it down there in the chat. Me or Dawson will answer it, during our free time between these picks. We got nothing better to do, so why don't you just leave a little question there, and we'll just answer it the next time we get a chance.
Yeah, exactly. If you guys have any thoughts or anything you'd like us to talk about, be sure to comment down. Be sure to comment in the comment section anything you want us to talk about. We've got a ton of time in between these picks. It's gonna be a fun night. All right. So it looks like Goodell is getting back on the stage to announce the pick. Let's see who Roger Goodell decides to pick. We would show you guys the pick, but it's technically illegal for us to show the content on our stream. So we'll just tell you guys who they decide to pick. All right.
All right, so here comes. The pick is in, boys.
Pick is in. Oh, my goodness. The 49ers just took Trey Lance, the North Dakota State quarterback. Oh, my goodness. We didn't even consider that. That's insane. I didn't think they would reach for him that far. Okay, so Trey Lance is an incredible quarterback. No doubt. He's one of the best quarterbacks in this entire draft. He's the most mobile quarterback in this draft. He reminds me a lot of Russell Wilson or Lamar Jackson in his rushing ability, his ability to get down the field and get to the end zone. He ran for almost as many touchdowns as he threw last season. He ran for 14 touchdowns and threw for he ran 1,100 yards as a quarterback, mind you. He is also a decent passing quarterback. He threw 28 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. He threw no interceptions last season, which is very impressive. None of these quarterbacks in this draft, or none of these top quarterbacks in the draft, threw 0 interceptions. He doesn't have necessarily arm strength as some of these other quarterbacks in this draft, but he is by far the most mobile quarterback in this draft. I think he can be a great piece in that Kyle Shanahan offense. As you mentioned before, he likes quarterbacks that know how to run the ball. What are your first thoughts on Trey Lance getting taken by the 49ers at number 3 overall?
So I think with this pick, unless they are extremely confident that Trey Lance can be their day one starter, I think that Jimmy Garoppolo is indeed coming back to this team. This is a good indicator of that, because Trey Lance, you can make the argument that he could start, but he should not start in the NFL day one. He should sit behind the quarterback and, just learn, Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen should have sat behind the quarterback. Now, he turned out, but it took him 3 years. If you want Trey Lance to be your starter next year, have him sit behind the quarterback, just learn the offense, and eventually he'd become your starter and your franchise quarterback.
Yes, I completely agree with you. This quarterback is definitely a big boom or bust quarterback. He could be great, or he could not be great. We'll just see what happens. If he gets a year to grow, like you said, his odds of actually being great are a lot higher. Jimmy Garoppolo, I think, could be a great mentor for him in that Kyle Shanahan offense. I think he could be a very dangerous piece of that offense. With all the moving parts at wide receiver, George Kittle tied in a great offensive line, and then you put Trey Lance at quarterback, that team is suddenly super, super dangerous against NFL teams. Like you said, though, I don't think he's going to be a starter this week, but I do think he will be a starter in the future for this team. Great pick, I think, for the 49ers. Unexpected, but I do see why they did make this pick when they did make it and who they did get. But yeah, so let's move on to the next pick in the draft, unless you guys have any thoughts about this. Yeah, I guess let's move on to the next pick. So the fourth pick in the draft, we have the Atlanta Falcons. Who do you think the Falcons are going to take it for?
So the Falcons at 4, they don't have Trey Lance anymore, but Justin Fields is still on the board. Justin Fields right now is sitting in Kennesaw, Georgia, which is about 10 miles outside of Atlanta. And, Justin Fields, he's a Georgia kid. He was born in Georgia. He played high school football in Georgia. He was the number 2 recruit coming out of Georgia. He would have been the number 1, except Trevor Lawrence also came out of Georgia. So, I mean, kind of got to go that way. But, beyond that, Justin Fields, amazing talent. Have him sit behind Ryan for a couple of years. Ryan still has a few years of gas left in his tank. And, just let Fields take over from there. Fields is going to be an amazing quarterback in the Falcons offense. I wouldn't be opposed if they went with Kyle Pitts here either, if it's a win-now scenario. But if you're thinking about the future of this team, then you got to go with Justin Fields.
Yeah, Justin Fields fell to 4, so there's honestly a chance that one of these teams down here, like the Patriots or the Broncos, might trade up to get a quarterback right here. If the Falcons are listening to offers, that is, they might be set on Sewell or they might be set on Pitts. We'll see what happens, but as you said, they also could just go ahead and take the quarterback for themselves. Matt Ryan is getting a little bit old. He'd be a great mentor for Fields, but it just depends on whether the Falcons are looking to win now or win later. We'll just have to see when the Falcons decide to make their pick in a few picks. So, yeah, I personally think they're going to take Pitts right here, just because he's such a good weapon. I think they have the pieces to win now on offense. Just so many good wide receivers. Julio Jones, he's not got a lot of time left. Calvin Ridley, a new emerging wide receiver that's great. Matt Ryan, great quarterback, and their line is pretty decent. Now their defense might hold them back a little bit, so they might decide just to go into rebuild mode instead. But it is an option that they might take Kyle Pitts and just completely have one of the best offenses, hands down, in the entire NFL. This would boost Matt Ryan's fantasy stock by so much. It would be incredible, Matt Ryan's fantasy value, if they took Kyle Pitts here. But, yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see what they decide to do. We already saw one crazy thing in Trey Lance going at 3 overall above Justin Fields and Mac Jones. So, yeah. I still can't get over Trey Lance getting taken at 3 overall, dude.
Yeah. So it does look like that we have a question in the chat. So
right.
By Hogan Titus, it says, would you rather have Waddle or Chase? I assume he means Jaylen Waddle or Jamar Chase. Both are the wide receivers. Jaylen Waddle is out of Alabama. Jamar Chase is out of LSU. Dawson, what's your take on this question?
Okay, so I personally think that Jamar Chase is the better wide receiver out of this two. Now, what Waddle does have is speed. He's definitely by far the fastest wide receiver in this class. He has the chance to become the next Tyreek Hill, which if you can take Tyreek Hill or Jamar Chase, you're taking Tyreek Hill every single time. So he has a chance of that. I don't know if he'll become that because there's a chance that he will bust and become a Henry Ruggs type player like we saw last season. The Raiders taking him. So overall, I think Chase is the better receiver, but there is always that chance that Waddle will turn into the next Tyreek Hill. What do you think about it, Eric?
I completely agree, and I don't mean to interrupt, but the Falcons pick is in, so in just a moment we will be announcing that, so we may have to cut this question short. But as of right now, Jamar Chase is such a good receiver. I like Jaylen Waddle. I think that Jaylen Waddle is sometimes overvalued a little bit. He's still by far a first-round receiver. I like him a lot more than many first-round receivers in this class. But, Jaylen Waddle, he fits a specific role. Whereas Jamar Chase, you can put anywhere on the field and he'll be successful. So it looks like that Roger Goodell is coming back on the stage to relieve the man out of the chair. And so let's see what the Falcons take with the fourth overall pick.
All right, this could be an interesting pick right here. Just have to see what they decide to do. All right. They took Kyle Pitts. All right. That's a good pick for them. Oh, man, I guess they're trying to win now then. Man. That is an incredible pick for them right now. Kyle Pitts, the best tight end in this draft, the best tight end in several years, honestly. I think that Kyle Pitts is going to be one of the best weapons in the entire NFL. Hands down, that's not even going to be close. Kyle Pitts, 6'6", he weighs 239 pounds. He's got the speed, the hands, the leaping ability. He's got route running, the natural receiving ability of a wide receiver, and he has the dynamic mismatch potential against quarterbacks and linebackers just because he is such a big and such a talented wide receiver. I think that he has the potential to become the next Travis Kelce or Tony Gonzalez. What do you think?
I completely agree. Kyle Pitts is essentially just a really tall wide receiver. He's like a 6 foot. I think he's 6'5" or 6'6" monster of a man. He always wins at the point of attack. No one can stop him whenever it's a contested catch. He's taller than everyone, and he's just a great, tight end overall. The only negative is he's not the amazing blocker that you'd hope for him to be. He's still an above average blocker, but, he's not like, Pat Firemouth in that aspect where, he can block and, be just as good as any offensive lineman. But beyond that, Kyle Pitts is going to basically fit in right with this Atlanta system. I'm surprised that they took this pick. Like I said, I was expecting they went with the quarterback to be safe, but now we know that they're going with a win-now mentality. And so I'm excited to see what Atlanta does this year.
Yeah, exactly. I think Matt Ryan suddenly becomes actually a potential top 10 fantasy football quarterback, despite how he did last season, just because of this new weapon. And Kyle Pitts, I think he easily becomes one of the top 10 tight ends in fantasy football as well, personally. So, what do you think about him in the fantasy sense?
In the fantasy sense, I think that he could become a top 5 tight end his rookie season. It's completely possible because they're not going to use him like a typical tight end. He's not going to be used for just, the slant routes and, the out and in crossfade routes. Kyle Pitts is going down deep. He's going to cut back. He's going to make a block. He might get a carry or two. He's going to get 10 targets a game from Matt Ryan, despite Julio and Calvin Ridley being there. And Kyle Pitts is going to be immediately relevant for fantasy, and he's going to be slept on a lot because he's a rookie and unproven.
Yeah, I think you're going to be able to take this guy actually pretty early in your fantasy football drafts. So, yeah, man, great pick. Great pick for them if they're trying to win now. They just need to figure out how to revamp their defense with the rest of their picks. Do they have another first-round pick? I can't remember. I don't think they do. They have another first-round pick?
No, this is their only first-round pick.
Okay, all right. Well, in the second round, they'll have to try to get some defensive players to help their defense because the defense is a little bit rough right now. Who knows? But they might be able to outscore them. We'll see. They are in the same division as Tom Brady's Buccaneers, though. So, beating them out in any sense is going to be a tall task. But Kyle Pitts is definitely going to help him out with that. But so yeah, that's it. That's a great pick for them. Who's up next? Let's see. The Bengals are up next. Who do you personally think the Bengals are going to take right here, number 5? And don't say Justin Fields earlier.
I want Justin Fields to go there, but I'm going to be realistic. Penei Sewell, the offensive tackle out of Oregon, monster human being. He isn't tall, but he weighs 330 pounds. Nobody can move this man. He's amazing in pass block. He's amazing in run block. He's amazing in gap block. He's amazing in zone block. He's amazing in off-zone block. There's nothing that Penei Sewell can't do. Sure, he's not a 6'7", 6'8", Stone Forsythe out of Florida, but Penei Sewell is going to instantly help this Bengals offense when he gets drafted. I don't see any chance that they go with Jamar Chase. They could try to reunite the LSU guys and make another magical season, but that doesn't help you if Joe Burrow goes down again and goes out for the entire season like he did in 2020. So Penei Sewell is going to be the pick. I'm penciling it in now. What about you?
All right, yeah, I agree with you on that. I'm a little bit less sure that they're going to take him. They might be a little bit ambitious to try to get out of that division. The Bengals obviously haven't made it past the first round of the playoffs in over 20 seasons. So they might get themselves a little bit ambitious to get the pick. I think Sewell, in my opinion, is the obvious pick, but Chase is definitely a possible pick. If Joe Burrow desperately wants him on his team rather than to not die. Yeah, I don't really think there's any world though where Sewell does not go right here, or Chase. Sewell or Chase goes right here. I think there's a pretty real world that Chase goes right here as well. But yeah, they obviously do need wide receivers. They lost AJ Green in the offseason, as well as they lost Auden Tate, right? They don't sell Auden Tate, right? I don't think.
They may have lost him, but I can't remember. They may have kept him.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, they need to find a replacement for AJ Green. He's one of the best receivers in the league. They got Tyler Boyd and then Auden Tate. And T. Higgins, not the greatest wide receiver group in the entire league. Jamar Chase would help him out a lot. It's just a question of whether or not they are going to take him right there. But, yeah.
And just a heads up, so I see a guy named Lego Therapy in the chat. Lego Therapy, we're doing a live stream of the NFL Draft, which is happening right now. We're reacting to the picks and discussing them, so feel free to watch if you're interested at all in the NFL Draft. We'd love to have you.
Lego Therapy. Oh, that's my friend Alex. How you doing? Glad you can make it. Yeah. Man. Yeah. Well, yeah, we're just breaking down the draft right now. Pretty much. Yeah. That's cool. All right. How much longer do the Bengals have to their pick?
The pick is in. It is yet to be announced. We're hoping that right now it's just a commercial break because, why not have a commercial break during the NFL draft? Just give us the pick.
Right when the pick gets made. Come on, guys.
Oh, yeah. Right when the pick gets made. They always just go to commercial, so they can't even tell us. So, we're yet to see. Like I said, it's probably between Jamar Chase and Penei Sewell. And so, yeah, I'm excited for that.
Hogan says, I'm just waiting for the 9th pick in the draft. Who picks at 9? Let's see.
The Broncos pick at number 9 overall.
Broncos pick at 9. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Broncos, I mean, Justin Fields, there's a realistic chance he could fall to 9 for you guys. If you guys
he really could, and I think that the Broncos would snatch him up instantly. Justin Fields would fit instantly in their system. He could push Drew Lock to become an amazing quarterback, or he could overtake Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater to become their starter day one. I think that's the true possibility, but let's just see what happens.
Yeah, it could be like a 3-way quarterback battle, which would mean no matter what happens, the Broncos are coming out with a good quarterback. The best quarterback. They're going to all be pushed to play their hardest. That would be an incredible scenario for the Broncos quarterback. But obviously they have some other needs. But yeah, man, that's cool. Waiting for the 9th pick. So we'll see who they get. All right. So the Bengals pick is in. Are we still? We still on the commercial break? Man.
We are off the commercial break. Mel Kiper and several others are breaking down the pick right now. So we're just waiting for Roger Goodell to take the stage, kick the guy out of the leather chair, and make the pick.
All right. Man, yeah, I'm putting my money on Sewell here. Offensive lineman from Oregon. Justin Fields. Man, we will see what happens here. I want to see them take Drew Lock. Just I would love that. All right.
So Roger Goodell is taking the stage.
See what happens. They took Jamar Chase?
Wow.
They just took Jamar Chase. Oh my goodness. They did it. All right. So Jamar Chase was literally the best wide receiver in the entire NFL in 2019. He was part of Joe Burrow's national championship team when they just destroyed the NFL. That is considered to be the best college football team of all time. And he was the best wide receiver on that team, without a doubt. I think he's going to be an amazing NFL player. He had 24 deep catches in 2019, which is 10 more than any receiver in this entire class. Justin Jefferson was also on the LSU team, and in college, Jamar Chase was the wide receiver 1. He was considered better than Justin Jefferson. We saw what Justin Jefferson did last season. He was the runner-up for Rookie of the Year in the NFL. So Jamar Chase, he's going to be an incredible wide receiver in the NFL. Great fantasy quarterback as well. Going to help Joe Burrow out, especially because Joe Burrow was his college quarterback. So, yeah. What do you think?
I completely agree. Jamar Chase, I think they should have gone Penei Sewell with this pick, but Jamar Chase is amazing. He's going to fit instantly in the system. He's going to be an instant replacement for A.J. Green. And I just don't see how they can really go wrong with this pick as a wide receiver.
Exactly. This is definitely the best receiver for them to take. They need a receiver. They just filled their need right there. I think they're going to have to address offensive tackle later on in this draft or in free agency, because otherwise Joe Burrow's going to die. That's just my honest opinion. But Jamar Chase definitely going to help the Bengals out. They have a better chance, I would say, of getting out of the division into the playoffs with Jamar Chase than Penei Sewell this season. But long run, we will see. That leaves Sewell still on the board, though. So what do you think the Dolphins – I mean, I guess I'll let you talk about the pick first a little bit more.
So the Dolphins at number 6 overall, they could go many different ways with this pick. They could try to protect Tua by taking Penei Sewell, or they could end up taking a receiver. I really liked Alabama's Devonta Smith. I think that he would fit great here. Wow, and it looks like that the Dolphins already made their pick. We don't even have to put a countdown timer up here. I mean, they already made their pick. And
all
so
right,
they're sure about this. This is the guy they wanted. They were excited for this. Wow. Okay, so we're about to see where they go. I doubt it's Sewell then,
because since they made it so fast, I feel like they would have talked about Sewell a little bit before they just wildly go ahead and make the pick. So I mean, yeah. If I was to bet, I would say they're probably taking Devonta Smith from Alabama right here, honestly. But I guess we'll see.
And one possibility is they could draft Justin Fields, and he could be a potential replacement for Tua if he doesn't work out. I don't like it, but it's a possibility because Tua, not the best last season. He was okay, but he was by far the worst rookie quarterback that started last year. And
yeah, so Fields versus Tua for the starting job. Yeah, completely. Yeah, I completely. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, they could have a battle there. They took Tua so high last year. I don't know if they'd go quarterback so high. I think they can win this year. They've got the pieces in place to win this year. They should fill some gaps. I don't think they're gonna give Justin Fields a quarterback to compete against. I mean, not Justin Fields. Tua Tagovailoa, a quarterback to compete against, unless they're just really thinking that he's not their guy.
Hey, we said the same thing about the Packers last year, and look what happened.
I mean, that's true. They took Jordan. What's his name? Was it Jordan Love? Justin Love? No, it's just Jordan Love. Jordan Love, yeah.
Jordan Love.
I'm thinking Justin Fields. Getting all the drafts mixed up, if you know what I mean. All right. Let's see. Who else is available right here for them to take? I don't think they go defense here, unless they're taking Patrick Surtain, the cornerback from Alabama. But they've got cornerback locked down, so I don't think that's a very real possibility.
Yeah, I wouldn't think that they go with cornerback here. Their secondary is pretty good as of right now. They got Xavier, they got lots of other players around there. Honestly, their defense, they may need an edge rusher, but number 6 is way too high for any of the edge rushers in this class. There's no Myles Garrett, Nick Bosa, Chase Young in this class, and so if they really wanted an edge rusher, they could trade down, get someone who's willing to trade up for a Justin Fields, for a Mac Jones, someone like that, maybe even Devonta Smith, but instead they're taking a pick here, so it almost
they just announced the pick, so yeah, it has to. I don't think it can be anybody but Devonta Smith. If it was Sewell, they would have talked about it for a little bit longer, I feel like. If it was a quarterback, I mean, it could be a quarterback, but I just completely doubt that. Should be Devonta Smith. Should be Devonta Smith. Devonta Smith, great wide receiver, though. He actually won the Heisman Trophy last year. The first wide receiver to do it in, 10, 20 years? It's been a long time.
Oh yeah, it's been a very long time since we've seen a wide receiver this good. People can compare his season to Sammy Watkins' season a long time ago. And typically for some reason wide receivers that do a really amazing in college don't really turn out as much in the NFL. Now you could get guys that go in the later first round, they can turn out in the NFL eventually. You got Odell Beckham Jr., you got, Julio. Julio's actually drafted pretty high, so that may not be the greatest example. But, Sammy Watkins is not a great wide receiver to be compared to.
Yeah, exactly. Sammy Watkins, I feel like he's actually he's a pretty solid wide receiver. That's the most likely outcome. That's the most likely outcome for him. But he's so athletic and so talented. I think he has a chance of being more. I feel like Sammy Watkins is more of a floor for him based off what we've seen. All right, they're making the pick right now.
All right, so it looks like the pick is in.
Jaylen Waddle. All right, man, surprises all across the board. So Jaylen Waddle is the fastest receiver in this entire draft. Man, I did not see that coming at all. So, yeah, this guy has got some incredible speed. He's got the upside to be the next Tyreek Hill in the NFL. He has more routes. He has more yards per route than any wide receiver in this entire class. Super, super fast. If you watch any of these clips on screen right now, you'll see that he can outrun anyway. He's got good moves in the field as well. He can do some good running plays, some jet sweeps, just because his speed is so good. You look for him to become a Tyreek Hill style player in the NFL, as a ceiling, and a Henry Ruggs type player as a low. What do you have to say about this pick, Eric?
I'm honestly surprised at this pick because Devonta Smith, in my opinion, is such a better receiver than Jaylen Waddle. I'm not at all high on Jaylen Waddle. I think this is way too, this is overdrafted for Jaylen Waddle. I believe that Jaylen Waddle should have gone, around pick 15 maybe, somewhere around, the Patriots pick at pick 15. But, number 6 overall, this is way too high. The Dolphins clearly believe in him. We saw how quickly they penciled that pick in, so clearly they knew what they're doing. They've done their research. They know more than we do, so there may be something they really like about this kid, but I'm just not sure.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. For me, he's the 4th best receiver in this draft. Yet what was that? The second? No, yeah, he's the second wide receiver taken out of the 4. So, in my opinion. So, yeah, man. We'll see what happens. He definitely has some serious upside because he is so quick. He is such a quick receiver. He definitely has some serious upside, but I'm just not sure if it's worth the risk, personally. Or at least I wouldn't have taken him right here. Dolphin fans.
So again, we got another quick pick with the Lions. They've already penciled in their pick, so let's see what happens with the Lions.
Lions already picked their player, so, man, the Lions have a bunch of needs. Who do you think the Lions took right here?
The Lions could have gone lots of different ways. They could have taken an offensive tackle. They could have taken, Devonta Smith to upgrade their wide receiver core. That's personally what I think they did because their wide receiver core is pretty trash right now. They lost their top 2 wide receivers. They got T.J. Hawkinson as their number 1 receiver of any kind right now. And he's a tight end. He was a first-round tight end, but that does not mean he's good. He's pretty bad. And so, I think that Devonta Smith could help Jared Goff, exceed to the next level. Go back to, the 2018 season when Jared Goff was amazing. He brought them to a Super Bowl. But then things kind of went downhill. And, now we're here. He's in the Lions. And, let's just see what happens, I guess.
Man, this is turning out to be a crazy draft. We've got one prediction right. Man. Some insane picks, though. But yeah, what do you think the chances are they take Justin Fields right here?
I could see it because Jared Goff could be a very good. Justin Fields could be a very good replacement to Jared Goff. It depends on how they view it. If they think Jared Goff is their guy, then they need to go receiver. Really, the only receiver right now that deserves to go at the number 7 overall pick is Devonta Smith. But I wouldn't be shocked if they went Justin Fields because guess what? Jared Goff wasn't great last year. And so he wasn't great even the year before. He has been declining every year since that Super Bowl season 2 years ago. And I just think that they need to draft Justin Fields, get it over with, live with Jared Goff, have him teach Justin Fields the way of being a quarterback in today's NFL system. So I'm excited to see if that's what their pick is, but I would not be shocked if they went with Devonta Smith.
I completely agree with you on that. So whatever the pick they go with, I feel like it's going to be a pick for the future. They know they can't win now. They're just missing too many pieces, so they need to build somewhere. If they think Jared Goff's their guy, then they won't take a quarterback, and they'll go with someone like Devonta Smith. Devonta Smith. Sorry, I can't talk. Devonta Smith fell this far, so I think they can take him right here. Penei Sewell, though, to build up the offensive line to give him some protection would also be a viable option. For the future as well, just because could be a lockdown piece for them going forward. That's also an option for them, but they made the pick very quick. So whoever they picked, They feel very confident. I'm honestly not sold that it's Devonta Smith though, just because they made the pick so fast right after the Dolphins, and the Dolphins we thought they were gonna take Devonta Smith. So, yeah, they picked like so super quick. So, I guess we'll have to see. Guess we'll have to wait and see what happens here. I don't think they could have gone any of the defensive positions unless they go Micah Parsons, middle linebacker. I think he is the only defensive player that can realistically go in the top 10 besides Patrick Surtain. But they don't need quarterback. They drafted a quarterback third overall in Jeff Okudah last year. So that's definitely not their biggest need. I think one of their biggest needs is middle linebacker. But we'll just have to see if they went that direction. They made the pick. They still haven't announced it yet. What, they make the pick like 4 or 5 minutes ago? It's been a while now.
Yeah, it's been a very long time. They're taking a long time. Like, you can see that it was actually 5 minutes ago, because in the background of mine, I can see that the Panthers have 5 minutes left in their pick right now. So let's just see what happens. This may be where we don't even have to have a countdown. It's just go one pick to the next pick to the next pick.
Yeah, man, this is insane. They're taking a lot of time on these picks though. Lions front office is all smiles. I think they like who they got. All right, man. This is taking a while, dude. I thought they would already picked it by now.
It's taking a very long time.
Well, you guys have any more questions?
All right, looks like that Roger Goodell is making the pick. So
all right, finally, here we go.
See what happens.
They got Penei Sewell. All right, that's the offensive tackle from Oregon. So Penei Sewell is an amazing offensive tackle. I personally think he should have gone higher in the draft. I mean, he went at like, what is this, like 7 or 8? So he went super early as it is already. But I do think that he is a generational tackle that is not in every single draft. He is arguably the best tackle since Eric Fisher, which happened which he was taken like several years ago. So, yeah, man, this dude can block. He can play tackle. He can play guard. He's honestly a great tackle. He can play guard too if they really wanted him to. He's an all-around offensive piece. He's going to be able to protect Jared Goff and give him some time to throw the ball. Even if he doesn't have the greatest receivers to throw to, he will definitely have time with Sewell going into the offensive line. What are your first thoughts on Penei Sewell?
Penei Sewell, like I said before, is a generational talent when it comes to the tackle position. He's going to line up immediately in that left tackle, possibly even the guard position. You'll notice that a lot of amazing tackles that exist in the NFL actually started out as guards, because then they can learn about the hand placement. If they've already got the feet down, like Penei Sewell already has the feet down. You know, if they want to work on his hand position, getting his, his run blocking done and his pass protection, make sure it's, fluent and got everything good, then they may stick him as guard, but eventually he's going to transition to tackle and be a Pro Bowler for the next 10 years.
Yeah, I agree. He's definitely going to be a Pro Bowl level tackle for sure. I think he'll be a great pick. So we got a question in the chat. It says, who do you think the Giants are going to take? Eric, do you have any opinion?
So the Giants
who do you think they're going to take at 11?
So at number 11 overall, the Giants are going to go edge rusher. However, because of the way that the draft has fallen, they could end up with like a Devonta Smith. I don't think they're going to go Justin Fields. They already got Daniel Jones, their quarterback of the future. But Devonta Smith could pair nicely with Kenny Golladay, give him a 1-2 punch. They got Evan Ingram as a tight end, who is an explosive weapon when he's healthy. Saquon Barkley, like Evan Ingram, is an explosive weapon when he's healthy. This could be an unstoppable offense if everyone, like I said, remains healthy. It's just a matter of saying, okay, do we think that everyone is capable of performing at a high level? Plus, what is their faith in Daniel Jones? If they do not have faith in him, then I can see him going edge rusher because, Kwity Paye, Jaylen Phillips, those are both two really good edge rushers that could go very high in this draft.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. So, I mean, they need wide receiver pretty desperately. If Devonta Smith managed to fall that far, I think that they'll go ahead and scoop him up. I think there's a chance they'll take Slater to run opposite of Joe Thomas, just to give the Giants' offensive line some lockdownness. Not lockdownness. That's definitely not a word. You know what I'm trying to say, though. That's their biggest team need, according to PFF, the tackle position. Slater, an awesome offensive tackle. I kind of hope he falls to the Vikings at 15. Skull Vikings. But, yeah, I think there's definitely a real chance that they go offensive line here as well. So I think offensive line, defensive line, or wide receiver, to answer your question, is what I think that the Giants will take at 11. But anyway, so the Panthers are on the clock now. So with who's available, who do you think that the Panthers are going to take right here, right now?
If I had to guess, it's almost the exact same like I said for the Giants. They're either going to go with Justin Fields or they could go with Devonta Smith. Justin Fields, you could pair with Sam Darnold. One of them is going to turn out. They just almost have to. There's too much talent between them for one of them not to turn out. It would be insane if they both didn't. And so I would be happy with that pick. Also, Devonta Smith, pair him with Robbie Anderson, with DJ Moore. I mean, that would be an unstoppable offense.
Yeah, I agree with you. So, personally, I think that Micah Parsons, the middle linebacker, has a chance of going here. They lost Luke Kuechly a little bit ago. He was one of the best middle linebackers of the generation. He was so good at reading the field. Micah Parsons, I feel like he is a very similar quarterback in that ability to read the field. But there's a chance. I think there's a chance they do that. I think there's a chance they get Slater. Slater again, man. I love Slater. I think he's a great tackle. I think there's a chance they'll get him just to protect Darnold because they traded away Bridgewater, who was currently the quote-unquote competition with Darnold. So I think they might actually just be sitting here believing in him to be their new quarterback of the future. So I think there's a chance they could take tackle here to give us some protection. And I like Devonta Smith again. This guy's he's fallen too fast. They might take him as well. But yeah.
Yeah,
so I think that's what will probably happen.
We just gotta see what happens.
Yeah, that's the thing about the draft. We're just sitting there making predictions. We can't tell you what's gonna happen until it happens. Man, this has been a crazy draft.
We'd love it if Devonta Smith paired with Sam Darnold because Devonta Smith is the king of consistency. Sam Darnold is again the king of consistency. Sam Darnold, some question his accuracy, but watch when he has a clean pocket. When he has a clean pocket, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league in terms of like QBR and rankings and stuff like that. It's only whenever the pocket collapses that he in turn collapses. Now, he has a way better offensive line. I would have loved if he could have gotten like Penei Sewell right here. That would have been great. I would have loved to see Sam Darnold with Penei Sewell. Unfortunately, that is not the pick. So we're just going to see what happens whenever the Panthers make the pick, number 8 overall.
Yep. All right, we have a question in the chat. I'm going to let you answer this one because it's about the Steelers, Eric. But Hogan says, do you think the Steelers are going to try and trade up for Mac Jones or Justin Fields?
I do believe that if they continue to fall, that the Steelers would try to trade up for Mac Jones or Justin Fields. Not to say that they'd be able to because they don't have a lot of draft capital that they could give up. The Steelers need as many picks in this draft as possible. Their needs correlate exactly with this draft strengths. They need offensive tackle. Guess what? This draft has a lot of offensive tackles. They need center.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry to cut you short, but the Panthers are actually making their pick right now. The Panthers selected J.C. Horn, the cornerback from South Carolina. Oh, my goodness. Man,
wow,
these picks are so surprising.
Surprise.
He's the third best cornerback on both me and Eric's boards. But this dude has got incredible talent. This dude looks incredible on tape. You look at all these tapes we're about to show you from him in college. He was a generation. He's going to be a generational player. You can make the argument that he's one of the best. He's got great playmaking ability. He understands the game really well. He knows how to take down. He can lock down most receivers in this game. He's not a small dude either. He can get up and get physical with these top receivers in the league. He's going to need it in this tough division of the NFC North, playing against Devontae Adams, Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, and Allen Robinson. So I think this is actually hidden, not very obviously, but I think this is actually a good pick for the Lions. What do you think about this pick?
I completely agree. They've lost a lot of corners. They recently lost one to the Chargers, and I think that this is a great pick for them. Got to build that secondary. They got their quarterbacks. Clearly, they believe that at least Teddy Bridgewater could be a potential starter for a few years, or he can push Drew Lock to come out of his shell and be the quarterback that they drafted him to be. So I like this pick. Hopefully, J.C. Horn, who is a pure man-to-man coverage corner, can help them improve their defense and potentially get past like one of the worst pass defense last year.
Yes. With being paired with Okudah, I think the Lions are going to be able to run man just because they will be able to have man-on-man coverage on two receivers. I think it's going to be really helpful for them. If he was going to be a cornerback one, I'm not sure if he could have played much man just because of how that would have worked out. So I think it's actually a pretty good situation for J.C. Horn getting to go to the Lions and be able to go work with Jeff Okudah. But, man, some of these talented players have fallen so far in this draft, dude. I don't even know. I don't even know what to think about it. So the Broncos are on the clock right now. Man. Who do you think the Broncos are going to take at number 9 overall with all this talent still on the board?
So with number 9 overall, don't be surprised if, and I'm sorry, I apologize earlier. For some reason, my brain got confused, and I thought that the Broncos just made that pick, so I was talking about Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock. I am so sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
And got completely confused. So, anyway, with the Broncos, I think that they should draft Justin Fields with this pick, just because Justin Fields, like I've said before, could complement nicely with Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock. One of them is going to succeed. You know, you got Drew Lock. He's amazing. He's athletic. But he flashes. He's never consistent. Teddy Bridgewater is never amazing, but he's one of the most consistent quarterbacks in this league right now. He's always good. He's never great, but he's always good. And, you know, Justin Fields, we've yet to see, but who knows? He could be amazing. He could be a bust. But I'd rather take the chance on that guy than, you know, just throw a dart. I don't want them to draft Devonta Smith. They already got Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. They don't need Devonta Smith. I would maybe look right here to look at maybe like Micah Parsons, a middle linebacker for them, or possibly another corner. I know earlier I was talking about how I was excited they drafted a corner. I thought that they had drafted a corner, and I was excited for them. With the Panthers, it makes a little bit of sense also, so we'll talk about that a little bit if we have time. But the Broncos, I believe, could greatly benefit from a corner in this draft.
I completely agree with you on that. Okay, now, I personally think they're going to take corner, but here is another interesting idea that I just thought about. This would be incredibly high for him, but with the departure of Phillip Lindsay, the Broncos are in desperate need of a running back. The Broncos could honestly, they could take Naji Harris right here from Alabama, incredibly athletic, great cornerback. He broke multiple of Derrick Henry's rushing records at Alabama. This dude is an amazing running back. I think he could go be an instant plug-and-play running back for the Broncos right now. I don't think that'll happen, but if that does happen, I think that will actually be a not a horrible pick for the Broncos to make right here, or at least for their offense. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree that they need a running back. They do have Melvin Gordon, I believe, still, who is a very competent running back. He's nothing to write home about. He's nothing special, but he's very competent in many areas. I think that there's no running back in this class that deserves to be drafted number 9 overall or even in the top 20 picks. But they could trade down here. I would look, like Hogan mentioned earlier, that the Steelers are looking maybe to trade up. You know, this would be a prime opportunity for the Steelers to trade up, maybe give up 2 first-round picks, but if they can get Justin Fields, their quarterback of the future, you know, it's a win-win scenario for everyone. The Broncos are almost guaranteed to get their running back. If they want a specific one like Najee, they may not get him, but, you know, chances are they can get Najee or Travis Etienne. And so I just look forward to see what happens here. I wouldn't be surprised if they traded down from here.
That's a good point. They might trade down here. If they are looking for a quarterback, though, this is their chance. Justin Fields fell all the way to number 9. I think the Broncos are about to make their pick. And, yeah, man, this draft has been absolutely insane. Some players flying off the board that I thought were, like, maybe going to go around, like, 15 or 20-ish, and they're going in the top. They're going to the top 8. Man, some of these picks have been crazy so far. Yeah, you guys have any questions? Or, I guess, any Broncos fans out there? What would you guys want to do with your pick? Comment in the comment
So
section
while
below
they're typing,
if you guys
while,
have anything to
while
say
they're
about
typing
that.
that in the chat, I'm gonna go and just mention, J.C. Horn to the Panthers. I didn't really understand that he
Okay.
went to the Panthers. I thought he went to the Broncos. So just real quickly,
Okay.
J.C. Horn to the Panthers, amazing player. I think he's going to benefit greatly in that system. They've got a young coaching system. Sam Darnold, is a young quarterback. They're kind of going refreshed. All their players are young. They got a really young defense. You got Jeremy Chin, you got Derek Brown. They just got a lot of really young players. J.C. Horn is going to contribute greatly to that team.
Wait. You said the Panthers took... Oh my goodness. I was talking like the Lions just drafted J.C. Horn.
So
I had an
messed
incorrect
up.
breakdown as well. You thought he went to the Broncos, and I thought he went to the Lions. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Panthers fans, I'm sorry. Yeah, you guys got J.C. Horn. I actually think this is a great pick for you guys. I was very confused. I thought the Lions took Horn. I was like, that's a horrible pick. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. All right. So, yeah, man. Okay. All right. So yeah, Panthers took J.C. Horn, not the Lions. J.C. Horn, I feel like he's going to be a good piece for the Lions. They're in need of a cornerback. Lions are not. But the Panthers are in need of a cornerback. So, yeah, I think that's a pretty solid pick for them. We'll see how that plays out for them. It was a little bit high in my opinion for Horn, but I do think he's a good cornerback.
Yeah.
Man, I still can't believe it. We both messed that up. I thought we were on pick 7. You thought we were at 9. That's hilarious, dude. Man. All right. Well, Broncos, the pick is in. Mr.
All right, it looks like
Roger
Goodell's
Goodell
walking
is
up to
taking
the stage. Let's see what
About to
happens.
make the pick.
Looks like this one's for you, Hogan, the Broncos fan.
Patrick Surtain, all right. That's the cornerback from Alabama, highest rated cornerback in this entire draft. As of right now with Caleb Farley's injury, Patrick Surtain is an amazing player. I think you guys are going to be, the Broncos are going to be greatly benefited from this pick. He was definitely the best cornerback in 2020. Locked down so many receivers, played on Alabama, so he had to play against hard SEC opponents. And with the whole COVID protocol and whatnot, he only played against SEC players. And SEC, the best conference in all of college football. He had hard competition the entire year. I think he's going to be incredible at the next level. He's going to be able to lock down some of the wide receivers. He's got a pretty difficult division. Playing against the Chiefs, I think he's going to be able to take some of those Chiefs receivers out of the game completely because he is so talented. What do you have to say about Patrick Surtain?
Like you said, Patrick Surtain is so talented. He is probably the safest corner in this entire draft. J.C. Horn could bust easily. Caleb Farley could bust easily. Any of the corners could bust easily. Patrick Surtain is almost guaranteed for success. He's not the tallest guy. He's not the most athletic guy. You could say he had an amazing pro day, but when you watch his tape, he gets beat a couple of times, but just watch out because whenever he goes into zone coverage and then transitions to man coverage, it's just incredible because, the receivers just get beaten so bad. Interceptions happen. Pass breakups happen. It's just something to watch out for.
Yes, I completely agree with you on that. But yeah, the Broncos defense actually is looking very good. They've got Bradley Chubb coming back this year. They're going to keep Von Miller on the team, and then now they're signing they just signed Patrick Surtain. They've got Justin Simmons at safety. Yeah, the Broncos defense, if they could stay healthy, they did stay healthy last time, but last season. But if they can manage to stay healthy, this Broncos defense is going to be pretty locked down. What do you think about the overall impact on the Broncos defense from this pick?
The Broncos defense is going to be, like you said, incredibly impacted with this pick of Patrick Surtain. They got Bradley Chubb. They may re-sign Von Miller. I don't know if it's official yet, but let's assume they have Von Miller. I think they have Kareem Jackson. I believe that he's on the Broncos. And this Broncos defense has a lot of stars. They still have some holes to fill, primarily on their interior defensive line. But if they can get that figured out in free agency, this could be a defense to watch out for in 2021.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. So the Cowboys are next on the clock, and they're in a very interesting position because both J.C. Horn and Patrick Surtain is gone. I was thinking they were going to take a cornerback here because that is one of their biggest needs right now. Um, there's a lot of different directions they can go right now. They could go wide receiver. Devonta Smith still available. I think that's a horrible move for them. That's like their one. That's like their one thing that is locked down, their wide receiver position. But knowing Jerry Jones, there's always a chance they're going to take Devonta right here. What do you think is going to happen right here at number 10?
So it's interesting because we've already seen 2 corners come off the board, which is a position that we'd hope the Cowboys would target this year at the 10th overall pick. So I don't even really know what's going to happen. They could even take an edge rusher here because they don't really have any primarily dominant edge rushers. They may still have Everson Griffin. I don't know if it was a 1-year deal last year, but he may still be staying. In that case, then they have an okay edge rusher. But I wouldn't be surprised if they took someone like Kwity Paye, just an amazing edge rusher who's very athletic. His technique isn't the best, but just their entire team could benefit from him. And part of the problem with the Cowboys last year, they got so many points were scored against them. It was just insane. And so if they can just minimize some of those points scored against them, they'll win more games, henceforth possibly equaling another Super Bowl win.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. So, in my opinion, I think that the secondary and the linebackers and the defensive line of this Cowboys team, none of it is amazing necessarily. I do think that if you're going to focus on something, defensive line is the best thing to focus things on because defensive line, if you can put pressure on the quarterback, it gives him less time and therefore will cover up some of the mistakes of your linebackers, cornerbacks, and safeties. That is why I think they should go defensive line here because that will help cover up some of those mistakes. If Surtain was here, I feel like that would have been a better option just so they can take one of the wide receivers out of the game. But if they can't do that, I feel like the best option is to lock down the quarterback and give him as little amount of time as possible to throw the football.
All right, so Dawson, I don't mean to interrupt you.
Man.
We have a major trade alert. The Philadelphia Eagles have traded up to the 10th overall pick with the Dallas Cowboys. The details have not been revealed yet, but the Eagles are now picking at number 10 overall. They moved up from number 12 overall, so they got 3 minutes left to make their decision.
Wait, no, they didn't trade it from 12 overall. They didn't give up that pick. They're still on 12 overall as well.
Oh, they
didn't. You can see in the bottom.
Right.
So they're picking at 10 and 12. The Eagles are about to make 2 massive picks in this draft right now. The first one's coming up in just a second. They made a huge trade with the Cowboys. I'm not sure what they gave up or what all they received in the trade, but it looks like they got to keep their first-round pick at 12 overall this year and got the 10th overall pick from the Cowboys right now. So I guess we'll see what the Philadelphia Eagles are about to do with this pick. What do you think the Eagles need right now?
So the Eagles could go a lot of different ways. Personally, I think they're going to go Devonta Smith, the wide receiver out of Alabama. The wide receiver core is trash. Jalen Reagor is their number 1 wide receiver. He's going to be a sophomore. It's just insane.
That's crazy. They have no one at wide receiver. It makes too much sense for them. I mean, the other possibility is that they want Justin Fields to go compete with Jalen Hurts at quarterback, just because they did get rid of Carson Wentz to bring a little bit of quarterback competition. A little bit of quarterback competition. I don't think they expected Justin Fields to fall this far. So that also is another possibility. But I definitely think it is a skill player they traded up for. They just traded up 2 picks. They were obviously scared of the Giants taking someone at 11, or else they wouldn't have traded up just over that one team. So, very curious to see what the Eagles decide to do right here at pick number 10.
Yeah, and so, but also on, we got a comment earlier that by Shaylin Dunn that asked, how do you think the Eagles will fare this year? This was before the trade even happened. So right now, Shaylin, I can say that the Eagles are probably going to do pretty good because they just got another first-round pick. So let's just see what they pick.
Yeah, exactly. Man, this could be a crazy pick, depending on what they do. But knowing the Eagles, they might take someone like Najee Harris right here, but I guess we'll never
So, by
we'll
the
never
way,
know until
Adam
the pick
Schefter
happens.
did tweet out the details of the trade. So,
Okay.
Adam Schefter says that the Eagles gave up a first and a third round pick. He does not state what year, but because it looks like they still have their 12th overall, I would assume that's next year's first, maybe this year's third, or it could possibly be next year's third. Either way, a first and a third for the 10th overall pick of this year's draft.
Okay. All right. Not sure if that's a great deal for the Cowboys, but I guess we'll see what they take right here. The Eagles, that is. The pick is in. We'll just see how long it takes for Mr. Roger Goodell to make his way up to this stage. Man, some crazy trades happening. Let's see who all is left available. Devonta Smith still available. Most of the wide receivers still available, honestly, right here. Slater's available. They need to improve their offensive line at some point. I don't think they would trade up necessarily just to get an offensive lineman, but that is one of their needs. And then, yeah. All right. You got any last thoughts before the pick comes in?
Not really. I think that we just got to see what happens. I personally think they're going to go Devonta Smith, but like you said, there's a lot of different ways they could go with this. Offense, defense, basically every position besides running back is a position of need for them. So, let's see what happens.
Yeah. I just thought about something. Micah Parsons, honestly, is an available option for them to take as well. Micah Parsons, middle linebacker from Penn State.
Is amazing linebacker. There is some off the field issues. Some people question his love for the actual game of football itself, but I personally believe that he loves the game and he is willing to go to great lengths to perform. It looks like the Roger Goodell is going on the stage. So Dawson, you ready to make the pick?
All right. Yep. Let's see what the Eagles decided to do. Micah Parsons, obviously, best middle linebacker in my opinion in the game. Luke Kuechly-esque, in my opinion. And, yeah, all right, let's see what happens. Intense anticipation music playing. All right. The Eagles have selected Devonta Smith from Alabama. It's kind of what we thought would happen, and it is exactly what just happened. So, yeah, man, Devonta Smith, great receiver. I think he could have gone even earlier on in the draft than he did. He won the Heisman Trophy last year, actually. Mac Jones' top target. He is a little bit undersized for an NFL wide receiver. He's coming in at only 166 pounds, which is in the 4th percentile for weight of wide receivers. That's of all time, by the way. So very, very small guy, but he is one of the greatest college wide receivers of all time. He can make plays on the ball. He's super athletic, and he just has great vision and understanding of the game. What do you think about this pick?
So I love this pick because you're now giving Jalen Hurts the weapons that he needs to succeed. Jalen Reagor can now benefit from being the Z on the outside, the guy that gets downfield, the guy who a lot on the same team alike was Deshaun Jackson many years ago, the guy who just sprints downfield, puts his hands up, and fights for that ball. Whereas, in contrast, Devonta Smith can be your safe target, the guy that, if Jalen Reagor can't get open immediately, guess what? Just throw it to Devonta Smith. There's like an 80% chance he's going to catch that ball. No one can touch him on the line of scrimmage. No one can jam him on the line of scrimmage. No one can touch this kid. So I'm excited to see what happens.
Yes. I am also...
So what are your thoughts on this, Dawson?
Man, I personally am very interested to see what happens with him, but I think he's a good wide receiver. The Giants are currently now on the clock, and honestly, still some very good players for them to take here. What do you think is going to happen with the New York Giants?
For the New York Giants, I would expect to go an edge rusher right here. I'm looking at Kwity Paye. I think he's out of Michigan. Kwity Paye, very athletic dude. He's big. The guy can just destroy offensive linemen and, stop any play that he gets his hands on. Another edge rusher to watch is Jaylen Phillips. The guy's kind of a crafty, he gets down low and then just, speed rushes at you. He's not a very strong guy like Kwity Paye. They're both very different in what they do, but they're both very effective. It just depends on what the Giants need. Do they need a bull rusher like Kwity Paye, or do they need kind of a slippery speed guy like Jaylen Phillips?
I completely agree with you. Defensive line, I think, is one of the Giants' biggest needs. But yeah, also one quick note. I think that the Dallas Cowboys actually have the 12th overall pick that was just updated. And look at that. The Chicago Bears actually just traded up to number 11 overall with the Giants. Oh my goodness. Do we have details on what happened with that yet?
We do not have details yet. I will let you know as soon as we do have details on. Okay, yes, we do have details. Okay. So the Giants, in exchange for the number 11th overall pick, they get the Bears the first round pick for next year, and they get their 5th round pick for this year and their 4th round pick for next year. So they get a 1st, a 4th, and a 5th for the number 11 overall pick.
Nice. All right. So the Bears, obviously, their quarterback situation is really incredibly bad right now. Andy Dalton and Nick Foles just on the team sitting there. I think they traded up to get Justin Fields. What do you think about that?
I completely agree. There's a chance they could go Mac Jones here. Mac Jones is a guy that's still on the board. We haven't talked about him much right now because Justin Fields is for both of us a better prospect. But Mac Jones is still a very good player. If the team doesn't like Justin Fields that much, they could go with Mac Jones. Either one of them is going to push Trubisky, and I don't think that Nick Foles is still on the team anymore. But they can be the next quarterback that's going to help. They're going to be the next quarterback that helps Trubisky. And so I'm just excited to see what happens. They're going a quarterback here. I mean, they traded up. There's no prospect really that they need. All the wide receivers are gone, so they don't have a replacement for Allen Robinson now. It's going to be Justin Fields or Mac Jones at this point.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. But actually, I think Mitchell Trubisky was actually traded to the Buffalo Bills at some point during the offseason. I may be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure he did get traded out of there. So I think they are going to want a quarterback right here. Pretty confirmed that they are going to take a quarterback right here. Just because they give up quite a bit to get up here to this pick, and the best quarterbacks are falling. Quite frankly, some people thought they'd go 4 quarterbacks straight in a row. They went 3, and then the last 2 just falling down the board. We're outside the top 10 now. I did not think that Fields was going to fall outside the top 10, and it looks like he did. So I think this is the perfect opportunity if you're a Bears fan to get a quarterback of your future. I mean, of the future for them. But yeah, Mac Jones, obviously, he's another option. I think he is more of an anti-Dalton style player than Justin Fields is. So that might be a better training scenario, if you know what I'm saying. But Justin Fields is the overall better quarterback. It just depends on what the Bears, as an organization, as a whole, are looking to do right now.
I completely agree. And yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Going to be a quarterback. Let's just see which one they like. I would assume Justin Fields, but let's see if they like Mac Jones.
Yes, the pick is in, but we got to still wait for Mr. Roger Goodell to take the stage again. But yeah. All right. Who all is left available? I don't think they're going to go linebacker here. This is way too much of a trade for them to go linebacker. They're getting the quarterback of the future right here, right now. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Roger Goodell is coming back on the clock.
One sec, talking about COVID-19 real quick. I don't know what this is. They're giving a little monologue about COVID-19 or something right now. Roger Goodell, that is. So might be another second. Let's see. Oh, okay. So one of the people that one of the doctors, I believe, that is fighting COVID-19 is going to be announcing the pick. So that's what he's just talking about right now. Man, some of these picks are taking a while. Sorry, guys. Calling it a little bit early. Hogan, they took the Alabama wide receiver Devonta Smith, best player available, pretty much. All right, they're about to make the pick. The Giants traded their pick to the Bears. The Bears took Justin Fields. All right. So, as we predicted, they traded up to get the best quarterback left in this draft. Justin Fields is an incredible quarterback. He is the most athletic quarterback in this draft. He's so strong. Obviously, he transferred from Georgia to Ohio State, but once he got there, he was just incredible. He was the first Big Ten player with 40 passing touchdowns and 10 rushing touchdowns in the same season ever. The first player in Big Ten history. And he's very mobile as well, comparable to Trey Lance in this draft, and just super strong, great quarterback, a great vision of the field. I think he's going to be a great fit for the Chicago Bears, and someone that Andy Dalton will be able to teach. What do you think, Eric?
I completely agree that Justin Fields is going to be an amazing quarterback, and I apologize, I did look it up. You're right, Mitch Trubisky is now on the Buffalo Bills. I do remember that trade happening, or the offseason, whatever it was. I just have very bad recollection of these events happening, but Justin Fields, I think he's going to be a day one starter. I love this kid. Sure, there are a few things that he has trouble with, but they're all mental. And so you can fix those things. You can't fix athleticism. Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, I think those are the only two guys. Maybe Trey Lance. Trey Lance is in that category also. Those are the only three guys that are truly athletic freaks when it comes to the quarterback position. Otherwise, everyone else is just kind of standard. But Justin Fields, number 11 overall to the Bears, that's a steal for them, especially for what they gave up. They only gave up, a fourth and a fifth round pick for this guy, basically, to trade up for him. And that's just insane in my opinion. So I'm surprised that the Giants gave up this pick for so little, but I'm happy that the Bears got the quarterback of the future.
Yes, I completely agree with you. I'm a little bit confused why the New York Giants would allow this pick to happen, but nonetheless, it did just happen. So this is going to be a great quarterback for the Bears. I think he's going to be able to help the Bears actually be able to compete in their division. Obviously, the Bears have an incredible defense. Offense has always been a little bit lacking. They've got Allen Robinson, a really good target for him to throw to, and now they've got a good quarterback to throw to the target after Mitchell Trubisky busting over the past few years. As at least I think, I'm pretty sure, in my opinion, he busted. but yeah, great quarterback. You're number 2 overall quarterback. How do you think Justin Fields is going to do in fantasy football?
I think Justin Fields, year one, won't be great for fantasy football unless he's the clear-cut starter. If he's the clear-cut starter, imagine this guy throwing to Cole Kmet, Allen Robinson. I mean, this guy is going to be insane in the Bears offense over the next couple of years. Now, I would look at him not this coming season, but look at him the next following season, because he's going to improve significantly. By that point, I guarantee you, he's going to be the default starter. He's going to be the starter week 1 to week 16. Or week 17 now, and it's insane. This kid can do so much. I love him. He's eventually going to be a fantasy football star.
Yes, I completely agree with you. And at Jaylen Dunn in the chat, the Cowboys are on the clock right now. The Eagles traded up, and their 12th overall pick actually went to the Cowboys. They just hadn't updated the website yet, so we couldn't quite tell exactly what had happened. But yeah, the Cowboys are about to make their selection. So yeah, I guess let's get to that. Who do you think the Cowboys are going to take right here, number 12? They traded down a couple picks.
So it's interesting because they did trade down a couple of picks, and it looks like they just made their selection, so we'll be able to see what that is in a few minutes, probably after another
Okay.
commercial break. But, let's just see what happens. I would expect at this point, possibly Caleb Farley, the corner out of Virginia Tech. I love him. He's my number one corner in this class, above J.C. Horn and Patrick Surtain, who were both top 10 picks. So Caleb Farley could be going to the Cowboys. Dan Quinn is their new defensive coordinator. He's going back to his roots. He's going to need that excellent man-to-man coverage corner, and I believe that Caleb Farley can fill that role. Also look at edge rusher. No edge rushers have gone off the board so far, which is very surprising. Kwity Paye, Jaylen Phillips, Azeez Ojulari, Jason Owe, Joseph Asai. These are all guys that are projected to go in the first round, and none of them have gone yet. So it'll be interesting to see the run of them later in this draft.
Yeah, I wonder if the Cowboys traded back because they were confident they could get one of these guys a little bit later and get a couple picks later on. So I bet that's why they traded down with the Eagles. Eagles obviously trading up to get their great wide receiver. It's kind of funny to see the Eagles making a deal with the Cowboys, though. Biggest rivals in the NFL. But yeah, Cowboys, I think they're going to go Kwity Paye. As I said earlier, defensive line is if you're going to go defense, defensive line is the way to go, or cornerback. So Farley or Kwity Paye, expect to see their names called in the next upcoming pick. But yeah, what are your thoughts about this upcoming pick?
Yeah, like I said before, it could be, it can go different ways. I think it's almost guaranteed to be defense because there's no real true offensive prospects unless they want to go offensive line. There are two offensive linemen that are really good that we have yet to see go so far, and Rashawn Slater and Christian Darrisaw. Those two guys are beasts. Rashawn Slater profiles more as an offensive guard, but he has lots of tackle experience, which is very good. It looks like Roger Goodell is going on the stage, so Dawson, it's your turn to announce the pick.
Sounds good. Cowboys are making their way up on the stage, about to announce the pick. A guest is about to announce this pick, so Roger Goodell is going to talk for a bit about who that is. So give us a little bit more time to discuss the possibilities for this pick. Yeah. I don't think they're going to go quarterback here, though. Mac Jones is still available, but I don't think they're going to go quarterback here just because of they have Dak Prescott. That's not a need at all for them right now.
They have Dak, and they don't need a quarterback right now. It would be a waste of a pick this high up to go quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. Their offense is very locked down right now. Their defense is absolute garbage. That's the only reason they're in the games. They just need to reinforce their defense as much as possible throughout the course of this draft. I think Kwity Paye or Caleb Farley is the obvious answer to go right here. But yeah, pretty solid. Pretty solid. Let's see what happens right here. Pick's about to get made. All right,
here we go.
Yep. Micah Parsons. All right. They're sitting there trying to replace Sean Lee. Man, okay, so Micah Parsons is a middle linebacker. He played at Penn State. He is an incredibly talented player. That is one of the Cowboys' biggest needs, and I can see exactly why they took him here. Micah Parsons is just a great football player overall. He can read the field really well. As I said earlier, he reminds me a lot of Luke Kuechly, who's one of the best ever to read defenses. This is exactly what this team needs. It's a pretty weak defense right now, so someone that can actually read the play and tell his team what's happening is going to be a very, very big help for the Cowboys. And yeah, I just think this is an overall great pick for the Dallas Cowboys. What do you think about this pick?
I completely agree. I love Micah Parsons' tape. He's just an overall amazing Mike. He's just going to be amazing in this offense. Like you said, this was a hole that they needed to fill, and I believe that Micah Parsons is the guy to do it. Micah Parsons he's not a generational talent at the linebacker position. He's, we usually have one or two of these guys every year, but he's still very special. And linebackers that are drafted this high usually turn out, so I'm excited to see what happens.
Very much so. I think this is a very solid pick for the Cowboys right here. Didn't get fancy, take anybody on offense. So proud of Jerry Jones for doing his thing and drafting a defensive player finally in the first round. So yeah, the next pick is the Los Angeles Chargers. So far they have not traded yet. Chargers, they have quite a few needs. What do you think the Chargers do here?
So the Chargers, if I had to guess, are going to address offensive line because Caleb Farley is the only cornerback available. And while I think that they would want to replace Casey Hayward with this pick, Caleb Farley is kind of a question mark when it comes to health. And so I think the safer pick would either be go with Rashawn Slater, technically the tackle out of Northwestern. He also profiles as a guard because of his height and length. But also look at Christian Darrisaw, the tackle out of Virginia Tech, who I absolutely love. I personally have Christian Darrisaw above Penei Sewell sometimes in my rankings. It's just entirely situational. But Christian Darrisaw is a monster when it comes to pass block and running block. Now, he's inconsistent, but because of the fact that he played this year and Penei Sewell didn't, I think that Christian Darrisaw is just as good as Penei Sewell. Now, Rashawn Slater could also go here just because, he addresses more needs. You can stick him at tackle and he'll be great. Stick him at guard, he'll be great. Stick him at center even, he'll be great. It's just a matter of seeing what's best.
Exactly, I agree. I think Darrisaw is the better player, but I think Rashawn Slater can move around the offensive line a bit more than he can. But they have quite a few options here they can address. They can address their defensive needs. They can address their offensive line needs. But the thing they have locked down right now is their running back, their quarterback, and their wide receiver. So they don't need to worry about any of the skill positions right now. They just need to not get fancy and just go ahead and take their line needs at offensive and defensive line. Mac Jones, though, man, he's been falling quite a bit. Where are we at? Like pick 13? He still hasn't gone yet? That's surprising.
Yeah, it's
how
incredibly
far do you
surprising.
think Mac Jones will fall? Like, how many more picks is it going to be before a realistic team gets up to draft him? Let's see.
I think that he will be drafted somewhere around this range. I would look at the Patriots and 2 picks to see what happens there. They need a successor to Cam Newton because Cam Newton was not great last year, so you got to find a replacement for him eventually. Jarrett Stidham is not that guy, and so I think that Mac Jones could easily go to the Patriots. But, even if he falls past them, there are a lot of teams looking for quarterbacks. Washington is at number 19. They may want a quarterback also. Their best quarterback right now is Ryan Fitzpatrick, who is great, but he's also in his upper 30s, and you don't really want that in a franchise quarterback. And so I think that Mac Jones could go somewhere in this 15 to 20 range.
Okay, all right, interesting take. I'm not convinced that the Patriots like Mac Jones. We'll see though. We will have to see if they decide to make that pick. The Chargers, offensive line is their biggest need, as well as quarterback, which is available. So this is going to be a little bit harder of a pick to predict exactly what's going to happen here. But there are several offensive linemen that are still good available, and one of the best quarterbacks, Caleb Farley, my second best cornerback, and my second highest rated cornerback in this entire draft, is still available as well. So yeah, pick's about to come up. We're on a commercial break. So the pick is in for the Chargers, but since we have this commercial break to end, and then we can get the pick from Mr. Roger Goodell. Is there any way for us to see the pick?
It took a long time to take that pick. There is no way for us to see the pick as far as I know.
Okay, all right. Yeah, sorry, what were you saying?
No, I was just saying that for me, the Chargers pick hadn't come in, but it just came in. I think I'm a little bit delayed, on the stream.
Okay. Gotcha. All right, man. This has been fun. It's been a good draft so far. It's been pretty insane though. There's been some crazy picks and trades and whatnot that I was definitely not been expecting. So.
Oh yeah, we had 3 picks in a row that were entirely traded, which is a big surprise. So you don't see that every year in a draft. So it was exciting to watch.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Also, if any of you guys that are watching right now are not subscribed, we are currently at 199 subscribers. So if one of you guys subscribes, we will hit the 200 subscriber milestone. I would be so thankful. So if you haven't done that already, please subscribe. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in to the draft. It's been a good ride. We still got a good ways to go. We're not even halfway done with the first round yet.
Yeah, man, we're making our progress slowly.
Making the progress slowly. I did not realize that these are 10-minute timers for every single pick. Every single pick has a 10-minute timers on how long it's gonna take. So it's pretty insane how long they have to make a pick. So, man, has it been like that every year? I feel like it's not that long usually.
It is usually this long. Now, this draft is going longer than normal. I believe that the draft has been going on for approximately like an hour and a half now, so we're on pace for about the same length as last year, which I believe last year's draft was around 3.5 hours, and that's about what we're on pace for right now. So
Okay, so if we're on like 13 right now, so we made like 12 picks, 32 teams, math. Yeah, about that. Exactly. Yeah, what do you guys think in the comment section that the next few picks will hold for us? If you guys have any thoughts, be sure to let us know down there. We made our predictions. We'd love to hear you guys'. Yeah, man. No word on Jimmy Garoppolo or Aaron Rodgers being traded yet, so that is still a possibility to happen on the later rounds of this draft. We still have a bunch of big players left to get to in the draft, though, including Rondale Moore, the wide receiver out of Purdue. I think he'll go pretty soon here. Great talent, very talented wide receiver. But yeah. When did the Steelers pick? I forgot.
the Steelers pick at number 24 overall, so we got a little bit. Your team is next. I mean, you guys got the next pick, so
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. Who do you want the Vikings to draft with the 14th overall pick?
Okay, I want Rashawn Slater so badly. I've watched so much stuff about him. We need an offensive line. We need to protect Kirk Cousins. A lot of people think he's such a bad quarterback, but if you look at the actual numbers, Kirk Cousins' offensive line was 30th, like very bottom of the NFL in almost every statistic like you can look at. So it's really hard to compare to most quarterbacks. In play action, Kirk Cousins is still the number one quarterback in the entire NFL statistically. So the Vikings, I think they need to protect him. They need to get offensive linemen here. Slater, in my opinion, is the best one they need to take right now. If they don't get Slater, then I really want us to take Christian Darrisaw, but Chargers can't take both. So we're going to get one of these offensive linemen, and I'm very, very excited about that. Very excited about that pick for us.
You guys could go with Mac Jones at quarterback.
No, we're not going Mac Jones. We have Kirk Cousins. He's still got some years yet left. Diehard Vikings fan. Kirk Cousins. Skull Viking Nation. We can win now. I believe in us. We signed a bunch of offensive and defensive free agents this year. I think we can make some moves. But yeah. What do you think the Vikings will do? I'll let you make your prediction.
I think that they're going to go with the offensive lineman. I agree that Rashawn Slater is the best pick because they need interior offensive linemen, and Rashawn Slater could be an annual Pro Bowler at the position.
Yes, I agree. All right, the pick is up. Let's see what the Chargers picked. No! The Chargers took Rashawn Slater. Are you kidding me? No. Dang it. Okay. All right, well, as I've talked about, Slater is an amazing tackle. I didn't want him to go right here just because the Vikings were next, but Chargers fans be super happy. This is an absolutely amazing tackle you guys are getting. Super talented in college. If you watch any of his tape, you'll see how good of a blocker he was at Northwestern, I believe was his college. I think that's right, yeah. Northwestern, yep. Northwestern, I watched his tape. But yeah, dude, this guy can block anyone. He played in one of the best conferences in all of college football, playing in the Big Ten. Some of the hardest competition to pass rushers he had to play against this offseason, or this past season. Yeah, you guys are getting an amazing player. What do you have to say about this pick, Eric?
Like you said, he's an amazing player. He played at Northwestern. He didn't always face the best competition. A lot of people look at the Chase Young game and just base all their analysis based off of that. And yes, he shut down Chase Young. Like right now I'm watching the ESPN stream, they're showing the Chase Young game, of course, because, he just shut Chase Young down. But, no one ever talks about his other games. Sure, he wasn't as dominant in the other games as he was in that Chase Young game, but he was still a very competent offensive tackle. And guess what? Very competent offensive tackles can be amazing offensive guards, which is precisely what the Chargers need sometimes. Now, he can also fill into a tackle role whenever they're down. Remember, like if they get an injury to one of their tackles, he can step into that role, be very good. He will struggle significantly with power rushers because he's more of a speed protector because he's light on his feet. He doesn't weigh very much. He's, not very tall, but he has good length for his size. And so he can handle speed rushers, but power rushers are going to get the better of him. So that's why he should line up on the left side, primarily if he's a tackle. But he can fill either guard spots, which the Chargers need both, honestly. And so I'm just excited that they drafted him, and I'm sorry that the Vikings did not draft him.
Yeah. Man, Chargers got a good play. But yeah, so we have someone in the comments section asking, hey, what's going on? So we've actually had a bunch of crazy picks happen. So at number 3 overall, the San Francisco 49ers selected Trey Lance from North Dakota State, a quarterback. Neither of us expected that to happen. What else happened? Devonta Smith fell out of the top 10. He's considered the second best receiver in the entire draft, and he actually went after Jaylen Waddle, the wide receiver 2 at Alabama last season. So that was also a pretty crazy thing to happen. And then we had 3 picks get traded in a row. Picks 10, 11, and 12 all got traded in a row. So we've just had some crazy plays been happening. I mean, not plays, but some crazy picks have been happening over the past few picks. The Vikings are on the clock now. Now that Slater's gone, I want to take Darisaw. Darisaw is a great tackle. I think he could fill a huge need that the Vikings have at offensive line. Darisaw, just a great player. Also, Caleb Farley, as someone's in the comment section right now, I think Caleb Farley would honestly be a very good value for us to take right here. He fell all the way down.
You guys just traded your pick away.
So,
you guys just traded your pick away. You guys traded to the Jets. You aren't getting Darisaw, Dawson.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Well, guys, looks like we're talking about the New York Jets now.
What the heck are we doing? We had Darisaw. We had him locked in, the best tackle in this entire draft. Besides Sewell. Oh my goodness. What are we doing? What do we get? Tell me what we got. Do you know what we got yet?
I am looking as of right now. There are no details as of this moment.
No. Dang it. Are you kidding me? That's so bad. Oh my gosh. That's so frustrating. We had Darisaw locked up, and then we just traded it away. Traded away to the Jets.
Good news is you may have gotten more draft capital. I mean, you could have gotten like a second-round pick in exchange. Trade down. The Jets have the 23rd overall pick. I'm assuming that they gave up that plus something else to trade.
We better have at least gotten a first-round pick for it.
Overall.
Yeah, 14th was pretty high. We lost a lot of games for that pick, and we just gave it away. Man,
right, the Jets have made their picks. So
did not
let's see.
expect
They
that
could
to happen.
go Darisaw here.
Yeah, they could get Darisaw
opposite
to go
Micah Becton would be amazing.
Across Becton, yeah, man. They could just do that. They could get. Excuse me, sorry. They could get Farley here. Man.
Yeah, Farley in the Robert Saleh offense would be amazing. I mean, defense would be amazing also. He wants the great defense that he had in San Francisco. He may be trying to recreate it. Caleb Farley can be his Richard Sherman, his true lockdown corner. And I actually think that'd be a very good pick.
Yeah, I agree with you. Another pick they could take is Elijah Vera Tucker, the guard from USC. He's the best guard in the draft. Might be a little bit of a reach for them, but if they're looking for a guard to take, best guard to take would be Elijah Vera Tucker right here. That would not be a bad pick for them at 14, trading up. But yeah, I'm still a little bit ticked that the Vikings traded away that pick.
Yeah, you're very mad.
Oh, dang. We had a chance to get the offensive lineman to protect Kirk, and we just threw it out the window. Did you know what we got yet? Or how do you?
I've Adam Schefter hasn't tweeted out yet. I'm trying to see if I can find it real quick until they announce the Jets pick.
Oh my goodness. I still can't believe we did that. Why would we even... Come on, man. The Vikings were posting his stuff about how they were on the clock and stuff, and then they just didn't take it.
Oh, I actually got the pick for this pick now. I found it online.
All right, what did we get?
All right, so So I got both the pick for the Jets and what you guys got. All right, so the Vikings. So the Jets gave up just the. So they gave up the 23rd, 66, 86 picks in this year's draft for the 14 and 143rd. So basically, you guys got their first, then looks like 2/3 for your first and like maybe a fourth.
Okay. I mean,
It's
I'll
not
take it, I guess.
not
That's not
great.
horrible,
And
but
then they actually did draft an interesting prospect. I'll wait for you to see it so we can get your reaction to it live.
all right. Sounds good.
But it is an interesting prospect.
All right, cool. Sounds good. Yeah, trying to get on this commercial break real quick. Yeah, I bet my TV's a little bit behind or something. If you want, you can just go ahead and say it. I don't care.
No, I found it online. I want you to announce it, man. We gotta see your reaction.
All right. Couple more seconds. It's about to come up to the stage and tell us the pick that happened. Well, like, is it when the pick is in? Did they like put it on a website somewhere like before? Because that could be super useful. Not have to wait for the actual TV.
It
tell
depends.
us.
Sometimes, like right now, I just happen to find a guy online who posted about it.
Okay.
And so, like insider, like it's just insiders who can get it like an extra 2 minutes in advance. So, I just happen to find a tweet about it, but there's no like websites for it. I don't think.
Gotcha. Yeah, man. This has been an insane draft though so far. So much stuff has been happening.
It has, definitely.
I still can't believe we gave up our pick. Like, that was our pick. We were gonna get a because like we were in the perfect spot to get like one of the best tackles or guards in this draft, and we just threw it out the window. I'm so mad at the Vikings front office for just giving that away. Like, we just got 2/3. Like, why would we want a third round pick? Like, there's nobody nearly as good in the third as we could have gotten right there. So,
yeah.
ah, man, very frustrating. Very frustrating to say the least, as a Vikings fan. Let's see. Okay, the pick is in. About to announce it. Let's see. Who are they taking? I'm assuming they're not taking Mac Jones, considering they already got a quarterback this draft. That would be hilarious if they did get Mac Jones. All right. Here they go. Okay, all right. So the Jets got Elijah Vera Tucker, the guard I was talking about. This dude is actually very underrated in my opinion in the draft. He's the best guard in the draft, without a doubt. PFF has him graded as the 13th overall best player in this entire draft. He went at 5th. I mean, he went at 14, so just like directly after that. I think he is a great prospect for the NFL. A good thing for the Jets. Mekhi Becton, obviously, as one of the tackles in this, and then Elijah Vera Tucker playing guard. I think they're going to be a good combo off of each other, and yeah, I think he'll be a solid pick for them. What are your thoughts on Elijah Vera Tucker going to the Jets at 13 from the Vikings, or 14?
I really like him. I really like him because basically he's Rashawn Slater with 5% less the athleticism. But Elijah Vera Tucker out of USC is still an amazing athlete. He is, he's started at, left guard and left tackle, so he has a lot of versatile experience. And I think that basically what they're hoping with this pick is just fill whatever the hole may be. They're going to try to sign the best offensive lineman they can free agency. Whatever they can't sign, they're just going to plug Elijah Vera Tucker right into it and call it a day. And Elijah Vera Tucker is going to do his job, do it well, and be the best offensive lineman he can be.
I completely agree with you on that breakdown. He's a solid player. I think he's a great pick for the Jets right here. I think this is exactly what the Jets should have done right here. I'm not sure they should have traded up for him like that because I wanted to pick a player. But no, I don't think they should have traded up for Elijah Vera Tucker. But I guess they're really trying to protect Zack Wilson, which I don't blame them. I don't blame them for trying to protect Zack Wilson at all because he's definitely a player that they do not want dead in the first year, preferably. But yeah, all right. So who's next on the clock? Or unless you want to talk about him for a little bit more.
Now we can be dead. So the Patriots are next on the clock, and it's interesting. I was able to, while I was watching the ESPN broadcast of the draft, I saw that Mac Jones was receiving a phone call. There is no tell whether this is from the Patriots, but it's a good possibility. We've already talked about how it'd be great if Mac Jones went to the Bill Belichick system, so can't wait to see what happens.
Wait, so you saw it happen, or like they talked about that happening?
No, they showed a live feed of him on the phone talking with someone. It could just be like a family relative. We don't know. They don't know. But all
I
we
highly
know is
doubt that.
during the Patriots pick, they saw Mac Jones on a phone.
Okay, all right. Well, that sounds a lot like that Bill Belichick has found his new quarterback in Mr. Mac Jones. That's so amazing. Wow, I did not expect the Patriots to take Mac. If I'm being completely honest, I mean it makes a lot of sense, but I didn't actually think they were going to do it. Uh, I guess that's pretty locked in then. That Mac Jones is going to be a Patriot. Man, you have any thoughts about that?
I love it. Oh, it looks like the pick is in, so let's go and announce it.
All right, sounds good. Let's see what they decide to draft. Who, not what. Or he is currently announcing the person that's about to announce the pick. So, a couple more seconds. Let's see what happens here. They got Mac Jones. All right. So the Patriots selected quarterback Mac Jones out of Alabama. He could have gone top 5. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in this draft. He fell a very, very long way in this draft. Mac Jones, he's got great pocket awareness. Not necessarily the strongest guy, but this guy knows how to play football. He played on one of the best teams in the league. He had a 77% completion percentage, one of the best in the entire draft. A lot of people say that he's not the greatest just because he had so many weapons, but what really impresses me about him is when he gets to his second and third reads. He can get off of that first read and get to the later reads so well, so effectively. He's just an amazing quarterback overall. I think this is he's going to fit perfectly into the Bill Belichick and, Bill Belichick offense in New England. He's going to just fit right in there. I think he's going to be perfect to train behind Cam Newton and sit for. I don't think he'll start this year. I think he will sit for a year, but I think he has a lot to learn about the NFL. But I do think that he already has a bunch of football IQ that he can use in the NFL. What do you think about this pick?
So this guy is basically just Tom Brady Jr. He reminds me so much of the way he plays. He just, like you said, he goes through his reads. It's so impressive. It's so Tom Brady-esque. He doesn't have the strongest arm, but you don't need to be able to throw the ball 80 yards down the field in the NFL. You need to be able to throw the ball 20, 30 yards. So in that aspect, he's good. His accuracy, superb. Sure, he played with the best wide receiver core in the entire college football program, but those wide receivers are amongst the best in the NFL, so therefore his skills should translate pretty well. I could see him being a day one starter over Cam Newton, possibly. I do think that Cam Newton will be the starter, but it's a possibility that Mac Jones could overtake him and Cam Newton could be benched. We'll just have to see.
Yeah, man. Mac Jones, great pick. I think this is a great pick for the Patriots. I didn't think they were going to do it just because of what Bill Belichick has done has done in the past with his picks. But I do think it is an amazing pick for them to make right here. But yeah, so obviously Patriots are going to need to get some weapons later on in the draft. They have nobody for Mac Jones to throw to. So that's going to suck for him unless they can get someone on a little bit later down. Look for them to possibly trade up a little bit later in the draft or take someone early in the second round potentially for Mac Jones to throw to. What do you think about Mac Jones in fantasy football?
So this year, you should not draft Mac Jones in fantasy football unless it's abundantly clear from training camp that Mac Jones is going to be the starter, because Mac Jones probably going to be a backup. He could turn out to be this year's Jalen Hurts, where if Cam Newton is playing terribly like he did last year, then Mac Jones could be put in as a rookie to be the starter, go amazing, with that Bill Belichick offense, and then he could be viable in fantasy. So maybe, in your later round picks in the draft Mac Jones is to be your backup quarterback. He's going to be your sleeper. You don't want him as your safety quarterback that you can swap in exchange for your starter. But eventually, Mac Jones could be very fruitful and could be a massive steal in your fantasy football draft.
I completely agree with that assessment. But man, yeah. So that's all the top rated quarterbacks. We're getting on the later bit of the draft with this pick coming up by the Cardinals. There's a lot of stuff they could do here. What do you think the Cardinals are going to do at pick 16?
So at 16, I think that they're going to go Caleb Farley because their secondary is really bad. They've signed almost no one. I think they just have random people I've never heard of starting, and they cannot. They're just secondary is trash. They lost Patrick Peterson, and Patrick Peterson, even at his old age, was not great. And so they need the next Patrick Peterson in his prime. I think Caleb Farley can be that. He can be the true man-to-man coverage lockdown corner that this team needs. I think Cliff Kingsbury is going to pull the trigger and draft Caleb Farley right now at the number 16th overall pick, halfway through the draft.
I completely agree with you on that. They loaded up their offense with free agents. They're going to have one of the best offenses in the league. The next thing they need to address is their defense. Caleb Farley, great cornerback. A little bit of injury concerns. Personally, I think he should have gone in the top 10. He fell all the way to the Cardinals. What pick are we on? 16. He fell all the way to the Cardinals at 16. I think this is an absolute steal for the Cardinals. I think this should be a pretty obvious selection for them. Just hopefully they'll make the right decision here. Yeah, I don't think there's any really offensive needs they have right now, unless they wanted to go running back, which I completely doubt they're going to do that. Yeah, here they go. They're making the selection now.
All right, let's see what happens.
The Cardinals took Zaven Collins, the linebacker from Tulsa. Wow, okay, that is a very interesting pick. Zaven Collins was a great player for the Trojans. Not the Trojans. He was a great player for UCLA, or no, Tulsa last season. I'm so sorry. He played for Tulsa, yeah. He was a great player, though, for them when he did play for Tulsa. I'm a little bit confused why they took him right here, but if you watch his tape, he is a great player. I think he'll be great on the NFL level. Obviously, the Cardinals need defensive help. I think he will be able to bring that to the team. Obviously not going to be the necessarily linebacker one, but I do think he's going to be a solid linebacker to complement Isaiah on that team. What do you think about this pick?
Like you said, I'm completely surprised that they went this direction. They could have gone Caleb Farley, who's, in my opinion, just as good as Jalen Ramsey was coming out of college. And so yeah, I'm surprised that they went with the Zaven Collins pick. I like Zaven Collins. He's a great linebacker. He's my number 2 linebacker in this class. Big, physical guy. We've talked before about how Kwity Paye is like the physical guy of the edge rushers. Well, Zaven Collins is the physical guy of the linebackers. Zaven Collins just mauls people whenever he touches them. He could swap over to an edge rusher role in Arizona, possibly, because their edge rushers are also lacking. So I could see him kind of filling a dual role there, where sometimes he lines up in coverage against a tight end maybe who's not the fastest guy, but Zaven Collins can easily cover him. But also watch out because this guy can play edge and get to the quarterback or get to the running back and stop any play that happens.
Yes, I completely agree with you on that. He's a solid player. I don't think this was necessarily the best pick for them to do, but you never know what Cliff Kingsbury is thinking. This might be a good pick for him. For the Cardinals, that is. All right, so on to the Raiders now. The Raiders, they need offensive line really badly. I think this is where they take Darisaw, the offensive lineman from Virginia Tech. I wanted the Vikings to take him a little bit earlier, but they didn't. So I think this is where Darisaw falls right here to the Raiders. What do you think? What do you think about this pick?
I think I agree with you that Darisaw would be the right pick here. There's no real offensive tackle. The only one I would consider besides Darisaw on the offensive line is Tevin Jenkins, the offensive tackle out of Oklahoma State University. He just plays with such a nastiness that I think that the Raiders are missing in their offensive line. The Raiders recently have gone a complete complete overdo of like their entire offensive line. They got rid of basically all of their starters, and it'd be interesting to see how Darisaw would fit into the system. But I think that Tevin Jenkins could fit just as well because he'd bring that nastiness, like I said before, that they are just truly missing. That I think could bring them into one of the best units in this league.
Yes, I agree with you on that. Another direction they could go, though, is wide receiver. Their wide receiver group is very, very lacking. I think offensive line is probably a bigger need at this point in the draft. All the quarterbacks are gone, so Derek Carr, pretty locked in as their quarterback unless they want to reach, but I don't think they're going to do that. They need to take a wide receiver or an offensive lineman here. Offensive lineman, as I said just a second ago, bigger need. Darisaw, best one available, but as you said, Tevin Jenkins is also pretty solid player as well. Yeah, that's what they should do, at least, at this pick in the draft. Man, so what are we at? Like the halfway point now? 16? So we are currently
we just passed the halfway point.
Yeah. So we are currently at 2 hours and 18 minutes of streaming. So if we keep up this rate, will be a
4.5 hour stream. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Man, first live stream is going all the way through the draft.
Oh yeah.
Man, go big or go home, am I right? First ever.
Oh yeah, we just gotta stay at the entire time.
Draft stream, yeah, exactly. Man, yeah, you guys have if you guys have any questions in the about the draft or anything you'd like us to talk about, make sure to leave them in the comment section below. Answer any questions you guys have. Obviously, a very long stream. We'll get to it eventually. All right.
Also, one thing I'd like to ask the chat to do, if you got a team coming up that's in this latter half, if you're a Bears fan, if you're a Steelers fan like me, if you're a Saints fan, if you're a Buccaneers fan, if you're a Ravens fan, I don't know why you'd be a Ravens fan, but everyone to themselves, then, just leave a comment down below. Who do you think your team should draft? Because guess what? It's a very good possibility that you may be right. I'm really hoping that Christian Darisaw makes it to the Steelers. It's not likely, but I'm hoping, and there's a realistic chance that he could. So, I'm waiting to see what happens.
There's definitely a chance. We pick right before you guys now, though, so we better not turn it down again.
I'm not happy about that.
I mean, Darisaw's falling. The Vikings front office might be genius. If we get Darisaw, I would be incredibly happy with the Vikings right now.
Or the Steelers could trade with the Titans and just move one ahead of you guys.
No, please don't. Come on. They won't do that. We're not that stupid. Or the Titans aren't that stupid. Oh, man. Couple more picks. We can make it. Come on, Vikings Nation. Fall a little bit further. We can get him. All right. Something I just noticed, though, that's very, very surprising. Kwity Paye has not been drafted yet. Kwity Paye is still on the board. The best defensive end in the entire draft.
No edge rushers have been drafted yet. Yeah, no edge rushers have been taken this entire draft. That's shocking, considering this is a really good edge rusher class. A lot of teams are banking on, hey, maybe we can get them in the later rounds.
Still there too.
It is a realistic possibility that the Vikings really wanted edge rusher and decided, hey, no one's been taken yet. Let's see if the trend continues, and they traded down to pick 23 to see if they can get. Imagine if they can get like Kwity Paye or Jaylen Phillips. All right, the Raiders pick is coming up, so time to announce it.
All right, sounds good. Let's see who they decide to get. All right, the Raiders just got Alex Leatherwood, the offensive tackle from Alabama. Man, they announced that he's an offensive tackle. I'm pretty sure he's a guard.
He could profile as a guard. I personally think that he's a true tackle. He's kind of an undersized tackle. But he is truly, this is probably one of the biggest surprises we've seen in this draft so far. This is a guy that most people are valuing in the lower rounds, like maybe around lower rounds being like second round, but like lower than the mid first round. And so I'm surprised that they drafted him this high.
Dude. Yeah. We don't have a highlight reel for Mr. Leatherwood because we didn't expect him to be here. Man, Alex Leatherwood, that is a very, very high pick for him. Not sure exactly what they were thinking right there with that pick, but Alex Leatherwood, offensive tackle or guard, whatever you want to call him for the Raiders, I feel like they need that position. So if that's what they thought was the best, I mean, I'll let them have it. They didn't take my player. My team's about to draft, so I'm not going to complain. But, yeah. Man, do you have anything to say about Leatherwood, though? Yeah.
Not much I can say other than that I am shocked that the Raiders chose Leatherwood, which is my 10th rated tackle, over Darrisaw, who ties as my number 1 rated tackle. This is just insane.
Yeah, man. That was very, very, very unexpected. I did not think that was going to happen in any world, but you know what? It just did happen. So, man, did not expect that to happen.
Full of surprises.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, the next pick we got.
I mean, I'm so in shock. I forgot to change all the logos. I forgot to change the logos. No. I'm just so in shock.
Yeah, man, that was a very unexpected trade to say the least. So the Dolphins already made their pick. Might be a bit before they announce it, but Dolphins are on the clock. Who do you think the Dolphins took right here?
I bet that they're going to go Christian Darrisaw. I mean, imagine getting, you get, who did they take in the first round? I mean,
They took Jamar Chase, I think, right? No, they didn't. They took, who did they take? I'm forgetting.
Why can I not think of this now? Okay, wait, let me go back to it. They took
Waddle. No, they
took
the Walt. Yeah, they took the fast guy.
Yeah, they took Waddle. Yeah, that's right. So I would expect them to take Christian Darrisaw here just to keep improving that offense. They got a decent enough defense. Make a run for it this year. Get Darrisaw. Line him up against, I think who'd they get last year? They got I think it was some guy out of Georgia that they drafted last year, another tackle. Line him opposite that guy and just, just go crazy.
I'm also blanking on his name. But, yeah, man, give Tua some protection. Give him a real shot in the NFL. You got him a decent receiver in Jaylen Waddle. And I think it's the protection now. I think that Dolphins team is actually going to be a pretty solid squad this year, including for fantasy football. So, yeah, man, that was an interesting pick to say the least. But the last pick, I still go to the Raiders pick. That was such a weird pick for them. But yeah. So honestly,
hey,
they could take
Dawson,
Naji Harris right here. Yeah, what's up?
So by the way, for our ticker, I'm discovering that it turns out there's a character limit, so we can't put all the names because it's cutting off pretty much everything we do from here on. So do you want to get rid of the first half of the draft, or do you want to keep going and just lead the first half of the draft and it'll just or do you want to leave the first half, or do you want to just do the second half?
I don't know. Just give me a second. We're about to hear the pick. After the Dolphins pick, we can figure something out. Honestly, you can just leave it. You can just leave it like it is for now. Ooh, the Dolphins took Jaylen Phillips, the Miami defensive end. Man, that is a very interesting pick for them to take. Yeah, it's going from the state of Miami to the local defense. There's a local NFL team of the Dolphins. This dude was an absolute monster in college. This dude wrecked, completely destroyed offensive lines last season. He's one of the best defensive ends in this entire draft class. So powerful, so fast. Can get to the quarterback and take him down with ease. This dude is going to be a machine when he gets to the NFL level. What do you think, or what do you have to say, I guess, about Mr. Jaylen Phillips?
So Jaylen Phillips, I believe, is going to be a stud in the NFL. Like I said before, he's very shifty. You don't see him coming, and all of a sudden he's there. Everyone in the beginning was talking about Gregory Rousseau, the guy that's also out of Miami, who broke so many records last year in the 2019 college football season, and then he decided to opt out, which I do not think was very smart. He could have helped significantly, but Jaylen Phillips is the number 1 edge to be taken this year. Out of Miami, clearly the Dolphins like their hometown boys, so I think that this is a great pick for them. He can line up in the Dolphins defense and just wreak havoc all over the other teams.
Yeah, that defense that the Dolphins have been building is just incredible. Like, they got Byron Jones, Xavier Howard, a cornerback. Now they've got Mr. Jaylen Phillips rushing the quarterback. This Miami defense is actually going to be incredible. So they got offensive talent with their first pick to give to Tagovailoa someone to throw to, and then they cap off their defense, solidifying them as one of the best defenses in the entire league. So, what can I say? I think this is actually a pretty good pick secretly for them. I thought they should have gone line, but defensive end is not a bad pick at all for them. Jaylen Phillips falling all the way to number 18. So the next pick we have the Washington football team. They need offense. That's all I can say right here. What do you think the football team's going to do right here?
We said the past like 2 or 3 picks, but I think that they're going to go with Christian Darrisaw. They need the left tackle that Trent Williams, that he left that void when he left the Washington football team. And I think that Christian Darrisaw is such a similar player. He can just immediately fill that gap. I'm sure they need a quarterback. They have Ryan Fitzpatrick, the ancient old guy throwing the ball, but guess what? There's no quarterbacks available unless you want to reach on Davis Mills or Kyle Trask with the 19th overall pick, which I do not think is smart.
Yeah.
And you got to go with an offensive lineman. There's even a few defensive prospects I consider here. Their defensive line is amazing. I really like Matthew Ioannidis, and obviously Chase Young is a stud. They could look to upgrade their cornerbacks by drafting Caleb Farley, but I think that Christian Darrisaw is going to be the pick.
Okay. I agree with you on that. I think they could take Darrisaw here. Their defensive line, obviously super solid. Their linebackers are good. They've got decent cornerbacks and then not bad safeties either. So I think they need to go to offense, and offensive line is one of their biggest needs. They signed a bunch of wide receivers this offseason. They've got Antonio Gibson at running back, which I know you love. And then, so I guess their biggest 2 needs right now are, as you said, cornerback and offensive line. If they can get Fitz some protection this year, they don't necessarily need a quarterback now. I think they can actually win some games if they can protect Fitz and give him a little bit of time back in the pocket. I think he's the best pick here. I'm still crossing my fingers that Mr. Darrisaw is going to fall to the Vikings, but you never know. We will see what happens with this pick. I honestly think Tevin Jenkins might not be a bad pick for them either. The Oklahoma State tackle we talked about a minute ago. I don't think he would be a horrible pick for them to take either. Any last thoughts about the football team before they make their pick?
Not really. I mean, I would assume they're going with offensive line. Obviously, this team could just shake things up and just, draft a receiver or something. I mean, their receiver room isn't great. They got Terry McLaurin, and they got, I think they have Curtis Samuel now, who I like both of them a lot, especially McLaurin. But those 2 aren't really true number 1 wide receivers. They're excellent number 2 wide receivers. Trey McLaurin, you could maybe count as a number 1 wide receiver, but, that's not his true potential. I think that if they were both under a truly dominant receiver or with another secondary receiver, Ryan Fitzpatrick thrives when he has multiple targets to throw to. I just think that if they just get as many receivers as they can, the Washington football team's offense can truly thrive with Ryan Fitzpatrick throwing the ball and my guy Antonio Gibson running the ball.
I completely agree with you on that. Wide receiver is a need for them. I don't think it's one of their biggest needs. I think they need to get some protection, but I agree with what you're saying. Offensive wide receivers is technically not the greatest. It's not one of the worst in the league, but there are still very, very good wide receivers available. We're looking at guys like Elijah Moore, Rashad Bateman, Kadarius Toney, Terrace Marshall, and Rondale Moore. All are still on the board. So several people for them to pick from to draft if they did want to go that route. But we will have to see what they decide to pick. Football team, the pick is in. About to take the stage is Mr. Roger Goodell.
I found out what the pick is again, and it's very interesting. You guys are going to like this pick.
All right. Well, let's see. You want to go ahead and announce it?
No, I want to see your reaction, man. We gotta keep it live with the draft. Technically, I know this before the draft, and so we just gotta keep it live and just keep the suspense going.
I see what you're saying. All right, taking the stage. About to say it. Jamin Davis Jamin. Who is Jamin Davis?
Jamin
What?
Davis is a
Oh my
linebacker
goodness.
for Kentucky. He had an amazing
Okay.
pro day that I think vaulted him to this pick at 19. Before his pro day, he was probably considered like a third-round pick, but then he had like one of the best pro days of all time. I'm going to look at relativeathleticscores.com, which is a great database. You guys should check it out. But I'm going to use it to see his percentiles for his pro day.
Yeah. Man, I didn't even have him on my board for the first day at all whatsoever. That's insane. I mean, I guess a linebacker technically is a position, their weakest position on defense. So it makes sense in that sense. I'm not exactly sure if this is the pick I would have gone with, but yeah, you can pull up those stats and read exactly what they were thinking because I'm very, very confused with this pick. Linebacker maybe, but this linebacker, no, I wouldn't.
All
have
right,
done
so
that.
on the screen.
I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Sorry, my mic cut out. So, I'm going to be showing you some stats right now. So, as I showed the viewers, Jamin Davis has the 9.9 percentile score on the relative athletic score, which translates to a 99.4 percentile score in terms of athleticism. His 40-yard dash is 98th percentile. He had the best vertical for a linebacker of all time. It's just insane how his pro day went, and it makes sense why he vaulted up draft boards the way he did.
That's incredible. I still can't believe they took him though. Man, do you think this was a very good pick for them despite the pro day, or do you think the pro day proves that he is better than most people are seeing him as?
I think that I don't think he deserves to go at number 19 overall. I think his pro day definitely helped him. If I was looking for a linebacker right now, I'd look at Jeremiah Wisokoromoda out of Notre Dame. You know, he's a small guy that can play a lot of different like coverage schemes, stuff like that. But if they really need like, you know, a big force on their like linebacker core, then Jamin Davis makes sense. I do think it's too high. They should have traded down, but maybe they just love this guy too much to pass him up.
I guess so. All right. Well, I guess that puts the New York Giants on the clock again. What do you think the Giants are going to do here? They obviously trading down from pick 11 with the Bears vaulting themselves up to get their quarterback of the future. What do you think that the Giants are going to do here at 21? Or 20, never mind.
So
20.
it's interesting because now that they've, you know, gone all the way down, they have a lot of different options. Caleb Farley is still an option here, but the guy I want to see them most draft is Kwity Paye. This is the guy said they should draft up at pick 11. He's still available at pick 20. You guys got to draft him. Get an edge rusher. I think that their best edge rusher was like Dexter Watkins maybe last year. It was just insane how bad their edge rushers were last year. And so if they can get a guy, you know, they got Blake Martinez, you know, they got the guy, he was on the Titans. He's a corner. I can't remember his name. It wasn't Butler.
Malcolm Butler, yeah.
Yeah, Malcolm Butler. So yeah, it was him. They got him also. You know, they're rebuilding their defense. I think that they're going to go with Kwity Paye, solid edge rusher, very athletic, and a guy that, you know, they can just develop slowly and turn into a great edge rusher.
I think that would be a very good piece for them to take right here. Great spot for the Giants to be in right now. I think that was very smart for them to move down to get a bunch of picks up in the process. And the two guys that we were thinking about them taking are honestly both still here. We were talking about them taking Farley and Kwity Paye earlier, and if you look at it, they are both still available. So that is incredible for the Giants. So glad they got what they're looking for. And yeah, let's see what pick they make. They still haven't made their decision yet. But yeah, let's see. They could honestly still go wide receiver too. They don't have to go defense. Their wide receiver group is very weak. They've got Golden Tate, Rashad Slater. Not Rashad Slater. Who do they have? Darius Slater, right? No, Darius Slayton.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Darius Slayton.
all these draft picks confusing me. Yeah, they could go wide receiver here. They could go. I don't really think they'll go offensive line here, but there's a chance they will. What do you think they're gonna do? But if
Personally,
they don't
like
take
I said,
Kwity Paye.
if they don't take Quiddy, I still think they're going to go edge rusher. There's a
Okay.
few other guys you could look at, like Azeez Ojulari. I do think he's a little bit overhyped, but at the 20th overall pick, I think it's very reasonable. And so, you got Azeez Ojulari, you got Joseph Osai, Gregory Rousseau, the guy we talked about earlier, and they just turned in their pick, so in a minute we'll be able to announce that, probably after another commercial break. And yeah, let's just I would assume edge rusher, but I would not be shocked if they went, like you said, wide receiver. Lots of good wide receivers here. We haven't seen another wide receiver come off the board since pick, I believe it was, pick,
It was a
11
long
or
time
12.
ago. It was when Devonta Smith got
It was
taken,
like 11.
which was pick 10,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, pick, no, the pick 10 was, oh yes, it
The
was
Cowboys.
pick 10. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, because the Cowboys
Yeah,
against
yeah.
the Eagles. Yeah, man.
Yeah, you're right.
So
it
it
was
has
pick
been
10, yeah.
what, like a very long time since a wide receiver went off the board. There's still quite a
Especially
few
for
wide
this
receivers that I
class.
think are quality left. Yeah, this wide receiver class is super deep. Maybe that's why they're waiting. Maybe they're just thinking they can get a good receiver in the second round, which honestly makes a bit of sense in my opinion. But yeah, man. All right, the Giants pick is in. Let's see who they decided to take.
Oh, this is interesting.
Man, I'm very curious to see what the Giants do here at number 20. I guess it might still be a bit. These sometimes take a bit on the picks, but yeah.
So hey Dawson,
man,
I
that's
did
insane.
find a person that is announcing each pick live, so I do know what the pick is right now. I'm
Okay,
gonna
who
send
is
you a
it?
link over our messaging software, and you
Heard.
can make the announcement. All right.
All right, sounds good.
It's a Twitter link for a person that's personally announcing each pick.
Is on Twitter.
Yes, but it's just a website.
Okay. All right. All right. Actually, I'm seeing it live right now. Let's see who they took. All right, the Giants took Kadarius Toney, the Florida wide receiver. Man, I am so happy that they did this. Kadarius Toney, I have him as my fifth best receiver in the draft. He got taken number 4. Very happy about this. A lot of people have him a lot lower than that. I love Kadarius Toney. He is just such a versatile piece. He can break tackles. He's decently big as well. Obviously, in 2019, he didn't have the greatest season, but last year he completely turned it around with Kyle Trask being his new quarterback. He just put up some great numbers last season. He had 43 broken tackles on 120 catches. So just over 1 in every 3 times he got the ball, he broke a tackle from the guy that was trying to tackle him. That is absolutely insane. He weighs 189 pounds. He's a decently big wide receiver. He can get through some tackles, and I think this is a great pick for Daniel Jones, another target for him to throw to. What do you think about this pick, Eric?
Oh, I love this pick for the team because Kadarius Toney, such an explosive wide receiver. You watch him and no one can lay a hand on him. I think personally he's a lot more like Devonta Smith than people realize. Devonta Smith he's more basically Devonta Smith has a set route. He's very good at running a set route and running it perfectly. Whereas Kadarius Toney just kind of makes stuff up as he goes. He might just move around a little bit. Juke people out, make people confused, whereas Devonta Smith just keeps everything, perfect and precise. But Kadarius Toney can move. Like, right now I'm watching highlights of him, and I'm just going, wow. He goes, 15 yards after first contact. I mean, it's insane. He can just break so many tackles, force so many missed tackles, break so many ankles. It's just incredible what this kid can do, especially now that he's paired with Kenny Golladay. I'm just waiting to see what chemistry the two can build with Daniel Jones.
I completely agree with you on that. Kadarius Toney, great wide receiver, great pick for them. I'm so glad they took him right here. Not much else I think they could have done better, honestly. Pretty perfect pick. And, yeah, very interested to see what happens next. But, so, let's see. Who is next? The Colts are next, honestly. I mean, who do you think the Colts are going to take? Or what do you think the Colts are going to do here?
So there's a few different ways they could go. Again, I think edge rusher is a good need. They could take Kwity Paye. Another option right now is to address corner. They could take Caleb Farley, who I really like. Also, they could take Christian Darrisaw, the guy who has fallen down 15 picks beyond when he was supposed to have fallen. And so it'd be crazy to see a streak end here in Indy where not many people are mocking him. But Christian Darrisaw, amazing tackle. Imagine pairing this guy with Quentin Nelson. Just it'd be an unstoppable duo who just run Jonathan Taylor or Marlon Mack down that side every single time like a zone power rush and just watch the magic happen. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you look at, the Colts had several offensive linemen retire, so, I mean, like, this would be a really good pick. He fell so far. Yeah. I think that's a pretty good pick for them right now. I mean, wide receiver is also pretty bad. They got, like, T.Y. Hilton and, what's the other guy they just drafted, like, last year? Something Jr.
Michael Pittman.
Michael Pittman Jr. Yeah, that's who it is. Yeah, okay. Pittman's pretty solid, but their wide receiver room could use a little bit of help. There's still several good wide receivers left on the board they could take. That's always an option for them. Quarterback, they've already got pretty quarterback lockdown. They got Carson Wentz they traded in. I mean, they technically could take one of these quarterbacks and train him to eventually be the starter, but I doubt they take one this high in the draft with so much talent left at so many other positions. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff the Colts could do because they don't have a ton of holes in their team. They could honestly just trade down here if one team wanted to trade up. I'm not sure if they'll do that, but that is also another possibility for them to do. What do you think? What do you think the odds are they take a linebacker here?
I could see it. If they were going to take a linebacker, I'd recommend the guy I mentioned earlier, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. He can play coverage great. Honestly, I think he'd profile better as a safety than as a linebacker just because, he's so physical, but he's not tall. Like, he doesn't have the linebacker size. He has the linebacker mindset and strength, but he doesn't have the length and size that you need to play a proper linebacker in the NFL. But swap this guy over to, like, a safety linebacker type role, and you've got something special.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. He's definitely a pick that could happen, nonetheless. Yeah, so I guess we just kind of wait for the pick to happen. The Colts have made their decision, so a couple more minutes, and we will see who they decided to go with. Anything you guys want to talk about in the comment section? Any questions you guys have? Be sure to let us know, and we'll talk about them gladly. It's been a long stream. Man. What pick are we on right now? We're on like 21? 21, okay. So we got like 15 picks
21.
left. All right. 15 more picks
to go.
We
got 11. After this, we got 11 picks, yeah.
Yeah, man. Wait, what do you mean 11 picks?
There's 32 picks in the draft, so after 21, we got 11 more picks.
Oh, okay. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, my bad. I said that wrong.
Like a few extra teams to the draft.
Yeah, I don't think there are going to be any compensatory for sure. How do you say that word? Is that right? Compensatory?
Compensatory.
Yeah. First round picks.
Just those picks. Yeah.
The picks that you get for good sportsmanship, something like that.
Yeah.
Man, all right. Well, they made the decision. Just on a commercial break, waiting for that to end, and we will get to see who they decided to take with their pick. All right. I mean, Trevon Moehrig is also a possibility for them to take right here.
It is, yes. He's a great safety who I think would profile greatly with the Colts. Another option is, they just got Carson Wentz. Maybe just give him another weapon. They have two really good wide receivers, Michael Pittman and T.Y. Hilton, but maybe get them another wide receiver that can replace T.Y. Hilton after he's probably going to leave this season, or whenever his contract expires. So I would look at maybe like a Rondale Moore around this spot, because they don't have that kind of receiver on their team. They have T.Y. Hilton, who's kind of their ex-receiver. Michael Pittman's also kind of like a flanker, but he's not built like a flanker. He plays a flanker-esque role. Whereas Rondale Moore could easily become their Z because he's incredibly fast and also can win at contested catches.
Yeah, that is also a very viable option. I completely agree with you on that. They could go weapon. They could just go offensive weapons right now.
All right, so Dawson, if you check
Still good
that
picks on the
Twitter
board.
link I sent you, the guy does announce the picks early. So
Okay, all
they're
right.
also announcing it live. So if you just want to check that.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, I'll just watch it live. I can check that page just a second. All right. All right. Here they go. He's on the stand. Kwity Paye. All right. So the Colts decided to take the best defensive end in this class. He fell so far. This is an incredible pick for them. I cannot believe Kwity Paye fell all the way to the Colts at 21. Kwity Paye is an absolute monster, a pass rusher. So good. I can't believe he fell this far. Dude has done so much in his NFL career at Michigan. So good, goes so fast, so quick off the edge, gets the quarterback, and just completely wreak havoc in that backfield. What do you think that Kwity Paye adds to this team?
He adds to them a solid pass rusher who, he's very developmental. He's not perfect right now. His numbers were not impressive last year. Like, if you compare his numbers to Azeez Ojulari from last year, it's night and day. Azeez Ojulari beat him in every single, stat possible. But Kwity Paye, when you watch him play, he just stops every single, run play. He gets to the quarterback. And even, when he's in coverage, the rare few times he's been in coverage, he's pretty good. I mean, he can cover a tight end pretty well. Now, I think that he could profile mostly, imagine sort of like imagine he plays more like a TJ Watt style, like a point of attack, but he's a lot faster than TJ Watt. He's not as strong, but he's a lot faster than TJ Watt. So he can get to the quarterback a lot quicker, he can get past the tackle a lot quicker, and leading to a better result for his team.
Yes, okay, that makes a lot of sense, and I completely agree with you on that, though. On how you profiled Kwity Paye, I think he's gonna be great for this defense. It's a very young team in the Colts. I think they can have a chance to win now, and this is gonna bring a pass rush and cover up some of the mistakes of their secondary. I think this is just a solid overall pick for the Indianapolis Colts to take right here, especially so late in the draft. I thought Kwity Paye was gonna go possibly top 10 and at least definitely in the top 15. I didn't even know if he would fall to 14 where the Vikings were originally supposed to pick, or we might have a chance of taking him. So incredible steal for the Colts to get him at 21. So next team on the clock is the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans obviously have a bunch of holes. One of their biggest needs is cornerback. What do you think they're going to do here?
So they have two big holes they got to fill in this draft. First, like you said, is cornerback. Look at Caleb Farley to fill that role. They lost both Malcolm Butler and Adoree Jackson to free agency this year, and that is going to hurt them significantly if they don't fix that. Another need they have is a secondary wide receiver behind A.J. Brown. They lost both Corey Davis and Adam Humphries, and I don't even know the name of their second wide receiver now. I can't tell you who it is.
Yeah, they lost Jonnu Smith too, so...
Oh, yeah, they lost Jonnu Smith. They have no receivers.
They have nobody.
There's rumors that Delaney Walker's coming out of retirement, but I don't believe it. So if
I doubt that.
I'd say they're going with maybe Terrace Marshall here. They need a guy opposite A.J. Brown. Ryan Tannehill plays good when he has receivers who can make plays for him.
Yeah.
Yes. And so A.J. Brown, make plays for him. Corey Davis made plays for him. Jonnu Smith made plays for him. Terrace Marshall is a great example because he can make plays happen. He was playing with not the best quarterback help this year at LSU. It was still good, but it's not like, Joe Burrow level like he had the year before. But Ryan Tannehill, compared with A.J. Brown and Terrace Marshall, I think would be an amazing combo. Also look at Purdue's Rondale Moore, because Rondale Moore is a completely different body type than A.J. Brown, one who I think would complement him, and together they could be like a dynamic duo that just wrecks every defense they come against.
Yes, I completely agree with you on that. Rondale Moore, I feel like that's a great wide receiver to complement A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown, a big receiver. Rondale Moore, a little bit smaller guy. I feel like they'll be able to complement each other really well. Rondale Moore does not get tackled very easily. He's very strong and very physical despite being small. I feel like those two on opposite sides of the field lined up would be a great combo for Ryan Tannehill to throw to. A very good replacement for Corey Davis. And I feel like they could be just I feel like they could be a really good duo in the NFL. So I hope that's what the Titans do right here. They could also address corner, though. Caleb Farley has fallen a very long way from where I thought he could have been taken and would be taken. So, yeah, Tennessee's got 1:50 left, and they will make their selection. Any other thoughts about what the Titans might do right here other than wide receiver and cornerback?
They could potentially go with Christian Darrisaw because Jack Conklin left them a long time ago to go to the Browns, and since then, Derrick Henry hasn't had nearly the success running that direction on power and trap plays. Now that could change with Christian Darrisaw, who's great on run blocking. Just it's insane watching him, especially in zone run block. And so I'd be really excited to see it. I really want the Steelers to get him since they're only 2 picks away, but let's just see what happens.
Yes, I completely agree with you. Christian Darrisaw, great pick. He's a great offensive lineman. If he can fall one more pick, the Vikings will scoop him up, and please don't let that happen. I mean, the Titans, their main player, though, is Derrick Henry. Their main player is Derrick Henry in their team, so they definitely need to make sure they block for him. Their offensive line is okay. It's not great, but it's not bottom 5 in the NFL either. So they could either get Tannehill some weapons, or make sure Derrick Henry is going to be able to run the ball. So whichever one of those they decide on, it's going to be helpful for their team. Also, if they decide to go defense, it wouldn't be a bad thing for them either, just because they do have a lot of holes on defense, especially at cornerback, losing both of their starters. So, yeah. Very interesting pick the Titans are taking right now. The pick is in. They didn't trade it away, so they did go ahead and make this decision, and very interested to see what they decide to do. I'm going to see if I can find where the pick is
on the Twitter page
before it happens somewhere.
It's on the Twitter page.
On the Twitter page. All right, let's see.
It's a good one.
All right, I'm trying to pull it up. Give me 1 second. Mike can find the pick a little bit earlier than even the NFL draft is. We got an insider. Mike giving us a little bit of an extra insight to this pick. If I can figure out how to find it. Let's see. All right.
Did you locate it?
I'm working on it right now.
I have his highlight reel queued up and ready to go.
All right, awesome. Yeah, for some reason I cannot find the this hidden insider page.
Well, here, Roger Goodell's about to
announce
it live, so you can just watch it then.
Okay, yeah, I'll try to figure it out for the next pick so we can get a little bit head start on every other draft. Kind of be ahead of the game, if you know what I mean. All right, let's see. Yeah, Goodell's about to get on the stage. We'll give you guys the Tennessee Titans pick at number 22 overall. A lot of holes to fill. Very interested to see what they'll do here. All right, I think they're having a special guest announce the pick, so it's going to be a little bit longer. I might just go ahead and see if we can find this insider.
Did you click the Twitter link I sent you in the chat?
Yes, I'm working on it right now. So is he announcing it on Twitter posts, or is he actually streaming it?
No, Twitter posts.
Okay.
Just listen to the live.
Caleb Farley, all right. So they decided to go cornerback. This is an absolute steal for them. Caleb Farley fell all the way to pick 22. Caleb Farley is a top 10 talent, in my opinion. I think he should have gone in the top 10. He's the best player available, without a doubt, in my opinion, right now. Huge need for the Titans as cornerback. This is a great pick for them right now. Obviously, he got hurt at the end of last season, so his draft value fell a little bit. But if he can get anywhere close to where he was in 2019 when he was this lights-out cornerback, then he is going to be one of the greatest cornerbacks in the NFL. What do you have to say about Caleb Farley?
Caleb Farley is my number 1 quarterback, and he's available at the 22nd overall pick. this is an amazing steal. I mean, they just got a future lockdown corner, possibly like the next Jalen Ramsey at this 22nd overall pick. I mean, what is everyone else in this league doing? Just I don't know what people are sleeping on him for, but, this is an amazing pick. I'm so proud of the Titans. I love the Titans. They're my second favorite team right now to watch, and I just, I'm so happy that they got a guy like Caleb Farley. He can fill in the role of both Malcolm Butler and Adoree Jackson, and I'm just looking forward to it.
Yeah, man. Caleb Farley, super talented. Don't know why he fell so far, but he did. Titans got an incredible player. If you're a Titans fan in the chat, I bet you guys are absolutely livid about this pick. Livid's a good, yeah. Yeah, you guys are very excited about this pick. All right, okay, so my Vikings are on the clock, and the player I wanted them to take at 14 is still sitting here available at 23. I'm so excited. My goodness. This is very exciting. We need to take Rashad Slater. So you want them to trade down, right? Not Slater. Wait, what did you say?
You need to trade down, right? You need to trade down again.
No. We better not trade down again. We already traded down one time. But I wanted us to get Darrisaw at number 14, and it looks like he's still here at number, what are we at, 23? Dang. So Darrisaw fell a very long way. Vikings bet pays off. I think we get Darrisaw right here. We better get Darrisaw right here. Protect Kirk Cousins, give Dalvin Cook some room to run, and just reassure the Vikings offense. The 30th offensive line right now. I think getting Darrisaw right now is going to improve it significantly. We'll go way higher than that right now. So,
all right, so
very,
question.
very excited that Darrisaw
if the Vikings do not end up drafting Darrisaw, who do you want them to pick besides Darrisaw?
Okay, if we don't take Darrisaw, there's a couple of options that I think I would not be really mad about. I would not be super mad if we took Tevin Jenkins from Oklahoma State here. I think he's a solid player. I don't think he's as good as Darrisaw, but I would not be upset if we took him right here. That's one option. I wouldn't be super, super mad if we took, what's his name? The Georgia linebacker. I'm blanking so hard right now.
Azeez
Ojulari?
Yeah, the edge
I just butchered his name so bad. Yeah, the edge rusher out of Georgia. I think I wouldn't mind if we took him. I think that he's an awesome player. If he's falling all the way to 23, I don't think that's a bad selection. If we take anyone other than those three, I'm going to be pretty upset. I don't want us to take Trevon Moehrig. A lot of people think that the Vikings are in need of a safety. We're not in need of a safety. We're in need of edge rushers, tackles, and guards. We don't need Trevon Moehrig. We have Xavier Woods from the Cowboys and Harrison Smith. We have an incredible safety duo. I don't know why people think that. Hopefully our staff doesn't think that. We have great players there. We desperately need to protect Kirk Cousins. So we better draft Mr. Rashawn Slater. I keep saying Slater. I'm so sorry, guys. I mean Christian Darrisaw right here, right now. What do you think? What do you think about the Vikings? What do you think they'll take there? Even though they're not your team, I'll let you.
I would assume that they're taking Darrisaw. I would like it because it's literally one pick before my Steelers, and I wish they would take him. But I'm fine if they take him. The Steelers have a lot of picks, but Darrisaw would help their run game tremendously. Dalvin Cook, one of the best running backs in the NFL right now. He's been doing his production right now, getting 1,000-yard seasons with a really bad offensive line. And so if Darrisaw can help improve that, imagine what Cook can do then. People say let Russ cook. I say let Cook cook. Just let Dalvin run for 1,500-yard seasons. And, I just want to start this on Twitter. Hashtag let Cook cook. I just want to get that started.
Yes, exactly. Hashtag Cook cook. I love it. I'm going to go start it right now. Hashtag let Cook cook. Let's get Darrisaw. We have to pick Darrisaw first before I start that, because that'd be awkward if not. But we're going to get Darrisaw, and we're going to start letting Cook cook, man. I love that. All right.
Oh, yeah. And once Cook cooks,
Vikings
then
Nation.
that opens up a lot of other opportunities for Kirk Cousins to throw the ball. They got two amazing receivers in Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson. Their tight end room isn't the best. They got Irv Smith, I believe, is their number one tight end. He's still good. I like him, but he's not truly a true number one tight end quality. But we haven't seen him in the role in a long time because they've had I'm blanking, Kyle Rudolph for so long that they just haven't had the need to, have Irv Smith in that role. So that's yet to be seen, but I'm excited to see what they pick.
All right, here we go. The pick is in. It better be the right one. Skull Vikings. Come on, let's go.
Let's
Come
go.
on.
Kyle Trask.
Give me
Kyle
Christian
Trask
Darrisaw.
calling it.
Give me Darrisaw. Give me Darrisaw or give me Jenkins. Come on. The pick is in. All right. Now get on the stage yet. Oh, man. I'm so nervous. We better not take, like, Trask or something. Oh, man. This is very nerve-wracking. This guy has fallen straight into our lap, the exact guy we need, so...
All right,
this
the
should
pick
be a
is
pretty
officially on
straightforward
that
pick.
channel I showed you, so if you got that channel open.
Oh, yeah. All right.
All right, could
right.
just be live right
He's
now.
on TV, actually. Yes! Let's go! We got Darrisaw. Yes! Thank you,
Nice.
Vikings. Man, trading down turned out to be worth it. Yes, that's so exciting. Okay, so we got the offensive tackle that I actually wanted to get way earlier in the draft. We traded back, got 2 third-round picks, and actually managed to make it. That is so insane. I'm so glad. I'm so glad we did that. Thank you, Vikings front office. I'm not mad at you anymore. We got the player I wanted anyway, so you made the right decision. Thank you, guys. I don't know what all to say. This guy's an incredible tackle. We talked about him a lot, going to all these other teams, but yeah, Christian Darrisaw, absolutely incredible NFL player. What do you have to say about Mr. Christian Darrisaw?
I mean, I am very, very sad right now. There was hope, and now there is no hope. And yeah, I'm very sad for the Steelers. And
I'm sorry.
yeah, I no longer like the Vikings. The Vikings are now officially my least favorite team right now. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave this little channel thing right now. So yeah, have fun. Bye.
Dang. All right, one pick before the Steelers go. All right, I'll see you later.
I'm
All right.
so sad, man.
Looks like we lost. No, you still here? You're just kidding, right?
Yeah, I'm still here, man. Sadly.
Oh, okay. All right. See who the Steelers take. Who do you think this? Or I guess who do you hope the Steelers take right here?
I don't know. I'm just so bummed about missing out on Christian Darrisaw. So I guess I'd want them to take Tevin Jenkins right here, just because they need they need offensive line. People are screaming at the Steelers fans are screaming, "Get Naji Harris! Get Naji Harris!" No, you don't need Naji Harris. You can get a competent running back in like the 4th round. You know, don't just draft Naji Harris. You need to draft an offensive lineman, whether that's Tevin Jenkins. I really like Alabama center Landon Dickerson. He'd be a great fit in this spot. Just draft someone that can help the Steelers live up to their true potential.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. So you think you're gonna take? So you guys actually need a quarterback too. How mad would you be if you guys took like Kellen Mond right here or something like that?
Yeah, I'm just gonna. This is not under comment. I'm just gonna slowly turn off my webcam right now, because I don't need people to see the tears after this pick.
All right, sounds good. Go for it, man. That is nice, dude. What happened?
I am not happy.
Wait, who did you guys pick?
I'm throwing objects at the wall.
Tell me. You have to tell me who it is.
Throwing objects at the wall, man. You'll see, man. You should know by now based off of my previous commentary.
Oh my gosh. Did you
am
guys take a running back or a quarterback?
I am not saying anything.
Oh my gosh.
I am just going to stay back here.
I guess we'll have to announce
I
in
am
a second.
Emotional.
The Steelers pick is in. The terrible towels are swinging. Who did you guys take? Oh man. Eric,
and I got to play the highlights on this guy?
Who did you guys get? You guys got Naji Harris? Oh my goodness, no way. I'm so sorry, dude. Okay, Naji Harris, okay. To be fair, Naji Harris is an absolute monster of a running back. He's a 2020 national championship. He won the national 2020 national championship. He had 81 rushing first downs, which is the most in this entire draft. He's getting between the gaps as well as getting lateral skills. He is actually a pretty good receiving back as well, and he broke so many of Derrick Henry's records at Alabama. Derrick Henry, notably done it. Derrick Henry, one of the greatest rushers in the entire NFL right now. So, Naji Harris going to the Steelers, an incredible pick. I think it's a good pick for them. Eric doesn't like it. You guys had some other needs, but Naji Harris, he's going to be a beast in fantasy football next season. If you're looking for a good running back, Naji Harris is going to be one for the Steelers next season, in my opinion. Eric, what are your initial thoughts on you guys taking a running back this early in the draft?
No. Just no. Why? Why would they do this? You have Tevin Jenkins on the board. You have Landon Dickerson. You can't run the ball if you don't have an O-line. You think that just O-linemen just grow on trees? No. You're more likely to find a good running back than you are to find a good offensive lineman on the caliber of Tevin Jenkins and Landon Dickerson. Sure, Landon Dickerson had some injury issues. Who cares? He was still one of the best centers we've ever seen in college football in like the past decade. Tevin Jenkins had that mean demeanor that, Steelers, fans want and that the Steelers, organization wants. Well, guess what? They didn't draft him. They drafted a running back in round 1 of the NFL draft.
Man, okay. Personally, I don't think this is a horrible pick for you guys. You guys are in need of a running back. I mean, you guys did have some other needs, but I think Naji Harris is a pretty solid player. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you don't like your pick, but I'm also sorry for taking your player. But even if Darisaw was there, you guys probably would have still taken Naji Harris, honestly, in my opinion.
No, we wouldn't, because we would have been sensible. We would have been sensible and taken an offensive lineman, because that's normally what we are. But guess what? We're no longer sensible, because we're the Steelers. We take a running back in the first round. Yay!
Oh my gosh, dude. I kind of feel bad for you. I'm so sorry. That's not a bad pick.
Hey,
I think
do you guys need a running back? Do you want to trade? You want to trade? You give us Darisaw and we give you Harris?
We have a Dalvin Cook. We're fine. Skull Vikings. We got offensive line. That's what we need.
Guess what? Someone may eventually break Dalvin Cook's legs, and in that case, you probably need someone that could replace Naji Harris, or replace Dalvin Cook, so just Naji Harris could fill that role. Just who cares about Mike Boone or anyone like that?
What do you want from us? We don't have any offensive linemen. All we have is Darisaw.
We need Darisaw.
If you want Ezra Cleveland, come and take him.
I mean, he's better than some of the options we have right now.
Oh my gosh, dude. We both have so bad
Zack
offensive line.
Banner
I got the
as our number one
tackle
tackle right now.
Oh
I'm just so mad. Dude. I don't even care about this next pick. I'm just so mad.
I'm sitting here so happy, and you're the exact opposite. Man, that was very unfortunate for you guys. Man, I don't even know what to say. Dude, alright. Well, that happened for you guys. I think he's a solid player. I think he's going to be a solid fantasy player. Maybe not the best thing for the overall organization, but not a horrible pick. First running back taken in the draft, Naji Harris, going to the Steelers at pick number 24. All right, so the next pick we have is the Jacksonville Jaguars at 25. Obviously, Jacksonville taking Trevor Lawrence at number 1 overall. Who do you think that the Jaguars need to take right here with the 25th pick in the draft?
So, Jaguars need a little bit of everything. I think they were going to take a wide receiver right here. Give Trevor Lawrence a young wide receiver to complement him. They have DJ Chark. They have Marvin Jones. But guess what? They don't really have a guy like Rondale Moore on their team. Rondale Moore is small and explosive, and I think that he fit perfectly in the Urban Meyer system.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Rondale Moore. He is my third favorite receiver. I actually liked him more than Jaylen Waddle coming into this draft. Obviously, he's fallen quite a bit from there. I wasn't convinced he was going to go so early, and he didn't. I think it's going to be a steal for whoever gets him at this point in the draft. I think it'd be a great fit for them to take Mr. Rondale Moore right here, Jacksonville Jaguars, that is. Someone for Trevor Lawrence to throw to. I also don't think it would be a bad idea for them to get someone to protect Trevor Lawrence. Their offensive line is mediocre. It's not great, but it's not bad either. But if they just want to lock him down, make sure he doesn't get injured. Tevin Jenkins is still a viable option. He's still on the board, can be taken. Yeah, I think he's a pretty solid player that they could also take.
Wait. Who did you just say? I don't think I heard you because I think you said a player that must have already been drafted because the Steelers didn't draft him. They didn't see him, I guess. So, like, who'd you say? I think that guy may have already been taken. Otherwise, the Steelers should have drafted him. What are you talking about?
No. The Steelers could have taken Tevin Jenkins. They just took Naji Harris instead because y'all thought Najee was better for some reason, which he clearly is not. But something's happening with you guys in the front office. I'm not sure what's going on up there, but you guys went with the running back. Tevin Jenkins is still very much available. They must have had a outdated list or something. They must have thought that all the tackles have been taken or something. So they just had to pull up their running backs list and make a pick before the timer ran out, something like that. I don't know what you guys are doing, but Tevin Jenkins is still very much available, and I think that it wouldn't be a bad pick for the Jags to take right here. Something else they could honestly do is take another running back, back-to-back running backs, and get Travis Etienne, someone for Trevor Lawrence to throw to. Obviously, Travis Etienne was Trevor Lawrence's running back in college. They were both played for Clemson. Great player for him. He's a dual threat. He can run the ball. He can catch the ball. I don't think that'd be a horrible pick, honestly, for them to take right here. Travis Etienne, someone for him to throw to, and as well as rush the ball for the Jaguars. So, what do you think about the potential of Etienne going here?
I think it'd be an interesting fit. I do not think that they should because I really am a big fan of James Robinson, the current number 1 running back. He was undrafted last year and came out and had like a 1,400-yard season. I think he broke the record for most yards by an undrafted rookie running back of all time. It was insane. And so I don't think that running back is their biggest concern right now. In fact, it may be one of their few strengths that they have right now because they also have Duke Johnson, a very decent running back. He's a good number 2 backup running back. And I think that they have bigger concerns right now, but I could see it happen if they decided to go running back in this draft.
Yeah, I got you. So that's a possibility. What do you think they need on defense? Their defense cornerback is a position they could also look for. What cornerback? I feel like there's just still a good cornerback left. So let's see who's available at cornerback.
There are a few. So like you got Asante Samuel Jr. You have Kelvin.
Oh yeah, Tyson Campbell.
Greg Newsome. Tyson Campbell is a guy I adore. Tyson Campbell is my number 2 cornerback.
Yeah, I agree.
You thought I loved my love of Caleb Farley as number 1 was weird. I like Tyson Campbell as my number 2. This guy is amazing. I don't know why not enough people are talking about him. The only guy that I can find that actually likes him as much is Chris Sims. All right, the Jaguars are making the pick, so it's up to you, Dawson.
All right, let's see who they actually get. They got Travis Etienne. No way. Oh, my goodness. Wow. Trevor Lawrence has got his running back and wide receiver dual threat guy back with him in Jacksonville, reuniting. They're going to be such a good duo. Travis Etienne, man, he's going to be such a good fantasy player. Oh, my goodness. Travis Etienne, a dual threat. Travis Etienne, he has 7.2 yards per carry, which is the best in ACC history. So not only is he a good receiving back, he's also a good running back straight up. He had 85 carries for 15 yards or more. He's so fast. He's a home run hitter. He's just an amazing player. He has the most receiving yards and receptions in the draft class among running backs. This dude is going to be awesome, especially back with his quarterback, Mr. Trevor Lawrence. What do you think about this pick, Eric?
So, I don't really adore it. Like I said, I think that James Robinson is a really good running back. I don't know why they drafted Travis Etienne. Clearly, they don't trust James Robinson to be their future. Now, they could just be trying to recreate, the Clemson offense, much like how the Bengals are trying to replicate the LSU offense. Just trying to get as many players. If Trevor Lawrence is familiar with Travis Etienne, and Trevor Lawrence said, hey, I'll get drafted on one condition, you got to try to take Travis Etienne, maybe they're good buddies or something, and, the Jags are like, okay, if that's what you want, because, Trevor Lawrence, we don't even know if he wanted to play in Jacksonville. It's not the best place to play, and, he's not going to get the biggest like media there. There are some very passionate fans there, but it's not a very large fan base because the Jacksonville Jaguars are a relatively new team, and so it's just interesting to see. Okay, what is the reasoning behind why they drafted Travis Etienne? But I think that's mostly because Trevor Lawrence said, "Hey, please draft this guy," and the Jaguars want to respect their new quarterback.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility, but I also think just the chemistry between them two is so good. Like, you can have the two best players in the NFL, but if you don't have the best chemistry, like, take, for example, Julian Edelman with Tom Brady. Julian Edelman, we saw last year, he was horrible with Cam Newton, but every single season he played with Tom Brady, he was incredible. This might be one of those things where it's just like Travis Etienne, maybe not the best player on his own, but in the right system, with the right quarterback, Trevor Lawrence being his quarterback throughout his career at college, I think this is actually a pretty good fit for them, a pretty good fit for him, just because of the quarterback there. They needed a little bit of wide receiver help. He's a good dual threat receiver. I don't think James Robinson will get completely rolled out, but I feel like James Robinson is much more of a running back than a dual threat back, if you know what I'm trying to say.
Yes, I completely agree with you that James Robinson is probably, so in this scenario, I would assume that James Robinson is now going to be their pure running back. Imagine like a good example. You remember a long time ago when Marlon Mack and, he had a backup. I've already forgot his name. Anyway, he had a backup.
Naeem Hines?
Yeah, Naeem Hines. And so Naeem Hines was always their pass catching back. He was always the guy who caught, 5 or 6 catches per game, maybe a touchdown for 80 yards. He got 80 yards per game. Marlon Mack handled the pure rushing. They each had the designated role. Well, if the Jaguars are trying to recreate, then this is a good scenario because Etienne can be the pass catching back with Trevor Lawrence because they have chemistry, and James Robinson, who doesn't yet have chemistry with Trevor Lawrence, can take the handoffs and go 10 yards after contact for a touchdown.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's a fair assessment. I feel like he might get a little bit more action than Naeem Hines, just because the chemistry is there. Maybe more of a wide receiver than even Naeem Hines. Like, they might line him up to the outside a little bit more. But, yeah, I completely agree with that assessment. All right, the Browns are up, and they actually already made their picks. Let's do a quick breakdown of what they might do with this pick. Who do you think they're most likely to take right here?
For this pick, I'd look at a few different cornerbacks maybe because they really need a number 2 corner behind Denzel Ward. I think Greg Newsome would fit great into their system. Maybe also Asante Samuel, but Greg Newsome is the guy to watch out for in this pick right here.
I agree. Tyson Campbell, Greg Newsome. Cornerback is a need of theirs, definitely. Another position they could look for is honestly wide receiver, just because Odell Beckham Jr., not sure if he's going to be sticking around for much longer there. Someone to play wide receiver next to Jarvis Landry might be a good idea for them. Rondale Moore's still available. I know I keep talking about him, but I think he needs to go at some point coming up pretty soon. But yeah, that's also an option for them. Offensive line for them is pretty solid. But yeah, they're about to make the pick. Here they go. Let's see what they decided to do with the 26th pick. All right. They're announcing the person that's going to announce the pick, so it's going to be just a second more. And then we'll see who they decided to take. All right. With the 26th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns have selected They took Greg Newsome. All right. Gregory Newsome. That's the cornerback we were just talking about. Or no, it's not. Yeah, it is. Wait, is it? Yeah, Greg Newsome. Yeah, that's who it was. Greg Newsome is an absolute beast of a cornerback in this draft. I have him as the 5th best cornerback in this draft, but is very talented. He's got a lot of potential in the NFL. I honestly think that he's being a little bit overhyped, but I think he fell to exactly where he needed to be drafted. This is I'm not sure if he's going to be a great cornerback 1, but I think he's going to be a great cornerback 2. He's going to complement Denzel Ward very well in that offense. What do you think about this pick?
Like I said before, I think Greg Newsome is going to be a great pick. I personally am a big fan of Greedy Williams, their current cornerback too, but I think that Greg Newsome and Greedy Williams can work together to truly bring this secondary to another level. They already got the offense. They got Jarvis Landry. OBJ, when he's healthy, can be a very good receiving threat. Baker Mayfield had his career year last year. Tight end, they got Austin Hooper. They got I'm blanking the guy that first rounder like 3 years ago. From do you remember his name?
Offensive lineman?
No, the tight end.
I forgot his name too. Oh my goodness. Oh, I can just look it up.
All right. Anyway, they have that guy. So they got a lot of talent on the offense. Their defense is spectacular. Now they got Jadeveon Clowney, Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward,
David Njoku. That's who it is.
David Njoku. They got David Njoku on the tight end on offense. They're just loading up, and I wouldn't be surprised if they try to make a Super Bowl run this year. I mean, they made it to they made it past the wild card round with the Steelers, and so I think they may have made. I think they made it to the Chiefs. They lost to the Chiefs, but either way, they had a really good run, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is one of those teams because they have a lot of young talent. This could be one of those teams that year after year enters the playoffs and dominates.
I completely agree that they're starting to become one of the most elite squads in this league, and I think this quarterback addition to the team locks down that second wide receiver because a lot of the teams in this division of the AFC North have a lot of teams with 2 wide receivers. The Chiefs with Juju Smith-Schuster and Chase Claypool. They're going to need to lock down both of those guys. This guy is going to be able to do it. I think this is a great pick for them right here. They got him as a late first round pick. I think this is actually a perfect pick for them right here. But yeah, great job, Browns. Nice pick. Browns Nation should be happy with this pick. All right, so the next pick we have is the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens, obviously in desperate need of a wide receiver. Do you think they go that route right here?
I do. I would be looking at a guy like Terrace Marshall, the guy out of LSU, just because, he's consistent. He's almost an exact replica of Sammy Watkins to me. He's going to come down with the ball. There's not too much. He's good after the catch, but the main thing he does is just catch the ball, get open, catch the ball, get open, catch the ball. That's his daily job, and I'd love to see him and Sammy Watkins pair together with Lamar Jackson to make some magic again.
I agree. I think Terrace Marshall is even better than any of these wide receivers available, including Rondale Moore for them. Just for this specific team, I think he's going to be a great wide receiver for this team, a great one for them to draft right here. There's not a lot to say here. They need a wide receiver desperately, and Terrace Marshall's the best one. If they don't take Terrace Marshall, I wouldn't be surprised if they took someone like Elijah Moore or Rashad Bateman right here. You need those guys I feel like can go and be an instant starter for this team because that's what they need. They need someone to come in and play wide receiver for Lamar Jackson because he has literally no one other than Marquise Brown, who is very, very – he's not a wide receiver one. That's, I guess, what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I completely agree that Marquise Brown, they drafted him to be their wide receiver 1, but, it's a lot like the Henry Ruggs story. He just didn't work out. It's a speed guy who, he gets injured, and he's fast, but that doesn't matter if you can't catch the ball after you get open. And so they need guys that can open up and, pull some of the coverage away from Marquise Brown. I think Marquise Brown is actually benefiting from if they draft a wide receiver here and from the the signing of Sammy Watkins, because now they're pulling coverage away from Marquise Brown. He's no longer going to be triple covered by 2 corners and a safety. And so Lamar Jackson has an amazing arm. He can just throw it downfield to Marquise Brown and take it to the house.
Yes, completely agree with you on that. Terrace Marshall, a great pick here for the Ravens to take. I think they should do that. I think they'll be able to take him, and then that'll be a great pick for him. So, they're about to make their pick right now, and I'm betting it's going to be a wide receiver just because that's such a big need for them. I mean, tackle, they still have a pretty good tackle available in Tevin Jenkins. He's still available here at 27. I think that would not be a bad pick for them to take either. But wide receiver, I think, is a much bigger need for them to take at this point in the draft. All right. Getting close to the end of the draft.
We are. We're only like 6 picks left, man.
Yep. It's been a good ride so far. Can't wait to see what the Packers do at 29. There's still several good wide receivers left.
Yeah, well, you know, Kyle
Very
Trask
excited
is
to see
still there,
who they
so
take.
I mean, we could just see something like that.
Yeah. Packers taking Kyle Trask. I want to see that so bad. You have no idea. Being a diehard Vikings fan, you gotta hate the Packers, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Skull Vikings.
Yeah, Skull Vikings with
Boo Green Bay.
Christian Darrisaw.
We got Christian.
I'm still mad.
They're gonna need Kyle. That. Just watch. Just watch. Kyle Trask. Please take Kyle Trask. Oh yeah, I forgot. Mooring is still available too. The one safety with the first round grade. Do you think he's gonna end up going to any of these first round teams?
I don't personally. I don't think there's any safeties worthy of the first round in this draft. Trayvon Mooring is an elite prospect, but he does have a lot of holes in this game, and so I don't think that any team is going to pull the trigger. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see even up to like 6 guys go in the second, third round in the safety position, just filling lots of holes in different teams.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. All right, let's see what they decide to get. All right, the Ravens got Rashad Bateman, the wide receiver out of USC. This is one of the guys we were talking about a second ago. This guy is not a bad receiver at all. He's put up some good numbers at his college debut. This guy is going to be a great addition for the team. I think he could be an instant starter, exactly what the team is looking for. He's got amazing hands, and he's kind of a jack-of-all-trades wide receiver. He has pretty much mastered his game. He's not like incredible at speed or anything, but he doesn't have very many holes in his game either. This dude knows exactly what he's doing. I think he's going to be a great plug-and-play receiver for Lamar Jackson to throw to. And, yeah, I think he could be a good addition to the team. Marquise Brown running across from Rashad Bateman. Going to be a pretty dangerous duo for Lamar Jackson to throw to. What do you think? What do you have to say, I guess, about Mr. Rashad Bateman?
Rashad Bateman is an interesting pick because he's kind of a jack-of-all-trades, master-of-none kind of player where, you know, he does everything right, but he doesn't do anything spectacular. His speed and acceleration is good, but it's not spectacular. His, you know, height and weight and size is good, but it's not spectacular. So I think that he actually could play a very good role in the Ravens offense because he can just be the secondary receiver to, you know, Sammy Watkins being the 1 and Rashad Bateman being the 2, and, you know, Marquise Brown fits in somewhere. I don't really know where, but, you know, he'll fit in somewhere. And then, you know,
yeah.
Rashad Bateman is an interesting pick. I'd be surprised. I'm curious to see what they do with the 31st overall pick because I'm surprised that they got this type of receiver with their pick. It makes sense, but I would have thought they would go with like a Terrace Marshall or even a Rondale Moore because it feels like that Rashad Bateman is almost an exact like carbon copy of Sammy Watkins in some ways. So I'm fascinated that they chose this.
I agree. I think that Rashad Bateman is going to be a good pick for them. I don't think this is the best receiver available, but I do think this is exactly what they needed right here at pick number 26. So, I mean, at 27. So the Saints are going to be up next. What do you think the Saints are going to do at pick number 27? I mean, 28. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm losing track. Too many picks in.
All right, so the Saints at 28, they have a lot of different ways that they can go. I personally wouldn't be surprised to see a quarterback come off the board right here. They may want to take a flyer on like Davis Mills out of Stanford, you know, Kyle Trask out of Florida, Kellen Mond out of Texas A&M. There are a lot of different ways to go right here, and I'm just curious to see what they go. They can also go wide receiver because they lost Emmanuel Sanders. And Michael Thomas, while he is good, we found that he only truly thrives if there's a secondary receiver to take some of the coverage away from him. If Michael Thomas ever gets one-on-one, he just dominates. But if he has double coverage or even triple coverage, then he obviously can't dominate as much because he's way outnumbered. And so I'd be interested to see what they're going to do with this pick.
I completely agree with you on that. He definitely needs some help at wide receiver. I think this would be a great spot for them. They don't have a very good wide receiver two at all right here. There's still very good wide receivers. I'll keep going back to the wide receivers, but they do need that, and there are still good receivers left on the board. So you look at guys like Elijah Moore, that could be great to take on that second role, or even Rondale Moore. Both of the Moores. I think they could both be great fits to this Saints offense. Or, yeah, like you said, like Kyle Trask, Jamie Newman, Davis Mills, or Kellen Mond could all fly off the board right here. If they're looking for a specific quarterback, they do have some quarterbacks that they are working on right now, but we will have to just wait and see if they decide to go with either of those guys. Is there any chance you think they'll take a defensive player here?
They could. I believe that they lost. I forgot his name. They lost some defensive lineman, and I can't remember the name of him. I feel like his first name was Cameron. Maybe Cameron Jordan. I can't.
Cameron Jordan?
Yeah.
Did they lose Cam Jordan? Okay, I didn't see that. All right, they're gonna need defensive line then.
Let me check real quick because if he is not on the team, okay, it looks like he still is on the team.
If he's not on the team, okay, I thought he was.
Yeah, I think he is. I don't know. I think they lost someone, like one of their starters. Either way, their defensive line is really old, I remember, and I just think that Christian Barmore would be an interesting pick right here because Christian Barmore, great scheme fit. I just think that Christian Barmore could be an eventual replacement. He's a very disruptive, pass rusher and run stopper, and I just would love to see the pick happen.
I agree with you completely on that. I think he could be a solid pick for this team to take right here. Their defensive line definitely needs some help. So defensive line, wide receiver are pretty much the two needs that this team needs to take right here. I think the picks are already in. We're on a commercial break. We'll get it as soon as we get back in here. But, definitely need both of those positions. Also, potentially quarterback. But, yeah. Man, this has been a crazy draft. There's been so many picks that I have not expected. It's been insane.
Yeah, it really has been.
Who did Washington take? I forgot.
Washington, I am blanking on Washington right now, so give me 1 second.
Wait, was that the team that took Leatherwood?
No, Washington took Jamin Davis.
Jamin Davis. Oh, that's a Kentucky guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, man. That was a crazy pick. I did not expect that. All right, the Saints pick is in. About to make the call. Drew Brees retired, so let's see what direction this franchise decides to go. Taking the stage right now, Roger Goodell. All right. So the Saints took Peyton Turner from Houston, defensive end. Man, I was not expecting that pick. But defensive end, that's definitely going to be a helpful thing for them. I think this is not a horrible pick. I don't know a ton about Mr. Peyton Turner, but defensive end is definitely a position that they need to address. We talked about it a second ago. Defensive line is getting a little bit old. Someone that Cameron Jordan can bring in behind him and can show the ways of the NFL too, and just be a solid defensive lineman for the Steelers going forward. Do you have any thoughts about Peyton Turner?
So Peyton Turner is, he's not a prospect that I've looked into much because most people mock him in about like the late second, early third round. I'm honestly surprised they went at the end of the first to the Saints. I'm not surprised they went edge rusher, but there are other edge rushers that I would think would go above Peyton Turner. You gotta think, Peyton Turner went above Gregory Rousseau, Azeez Ojulari, Joseph Asai, Jason Owe. I mean, this guy, they must love him. And so I personally think that there are many holes to his game. I remember seeing him, and he is a pure speed rusher. He can get around tackles. It's insane. But he has no power to his game. If anyone lays a hand on him, he just stops. So that could be the only negative. But if he just any of their defensive linemen can just coach him and just kind of bring him up in the ways of the Saints football team, I think that he could turn into a dominant force to be reckoned with. But as of right now, it's not really an influential pick for the team.
Yeah, as you said, so he's got the speed, but not the necessary athleticism. So I think that's going to be a great pick with Cam Jordan. Cam Jordan is one of the best pass rushers in the game, and if he can just show him how to play football like a professional NFL player, I think he can be great with his speed. His speed paired with Cam Jordan's talent overall, that could be a great duo in the NFL in a couple years at least. All right, so the next pick is the Green Bay Packers. So the Packers presumably taking a wide receiver here, but that's what we've said for the past 4 seasons, and they haven't done anything. They have not taken a wide receiver. So, starting to question whether or not the Packers are going to take a wide receiver here. It's obviously their biggest need, but what do you think the Packers are going to do here, Eric?
So I do think they're going to go wide receiver, but you can't count on anything with the Packers. Last year we're thinking, let's just get, Justin Jefferson. Let's get a good wide receiver. And Aaron Rodgers himself even said that he was so excited that they traded up because he was like, okay, what wide receiver did they get me? And they got him a future replacement. Isn't that a great way to treat your quarterback? As such, Aaron Rodgers actually wants out of the organization right now. That was released earlier today, maybe yesterday, but I believe earlier today. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they just got a wide receiver here, especially look at Terrace Marshall and Rondale Moore, who we've talked about a lot for the past 15 picks now. 2 very good wide receivers who are falling down a lot, and I would not be surprised if they went to the Packers right here.
I completely agree with you. I think they will. I hope they will. I bet they will. But you never know with the Packers. They might pull a wild card here and get Kyle Trask or Kellen Mond. I would hope they do. Their diehard Vikings fan right here. But we will see. If they don't believe in Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers is out, there actually is a pretty decent chance that they actually might take a quarterback right here. Another one of their team needs is linebacker. There aren't incredible linebackers left in the draft right now. According to ESPN, they have Mr. Azeez Ojulari as a linebacker. I'm not sure necessarily if that is a position that he could play, but be on the lookout for Azeez Ojulari to go right here because he is a very good player, easily a first-round player in my opinion. What do you think about Azeez?
I think Azeez could easily fit into the Green Bay system. But Azeez in himself he's so hard to grade because he had such production, but when you watch him, most of his production, like sacks and, pressure, stuff like that, it was just based off of the O-line kind of collapsing in on itself. And so it's kind of hard to grade him because sometimes he looks like, the best pass rusher in the entire NFL and our college football league. And right now it looks like Roger Goodell is about to make the picks, so go ahead and get ready.
All right, yeah. Awesome. Let's see what he says. All right, the Packers just took Eric Stokes, the cornerback from Georgia. And, oh my goodness, Eric, I'm going to have you talk about this guy first.
So, Eric Stokes this is a surprise because Eric Stokes is the worst of the 2 cornerbacks at Georgia, in my opinion. Tyson Campbell, his brother and more, you could say, on the other side of the field, is way better than Eric Stokes. The only reason possibly that Eric Stokes vaulted up the Packers draft board like this was his pro day. I believe he ran like a 4.28 on his 40, which is insane for a corner. And also, Eric Stokes is a playmaker. He's the guy that, always seems to find a way to, make an interception or always seems to make the flashy plays. He's a very flashy cornerback, whereas he's not really a safe corner. He takes too many risks for me, so that's why I think that this is a way overdrafted pick. But the Packers did need someone opposite Jaire Alexander, and so, maybe this pick will turn out, and they got the next Jaire Alexander to play opposite the true Jaire Alexander.
Man, I bet Packers fans are so mad about this pick, though. Not only did they not go, they went cornerback, but they didn't even get one of the top 5 available cornerbacks according to most boards. So, man, I feel really bad for Packers fans. This guy, he's a risky cornerback. I mean, he has potential. There's a chance he can become good, but it will definitely take him some time to develop into an NFL grade cornerback, in my opinion. We will see what happens with him, but very, very surprising pick for the Packers coming out right here and taking a cornerback, and not just a cornerback, but the second best cornerback on Georgia, according to almost every consensus board there is out there. So, yeah, that was a pretty wild pick, in my opinion. But I guess that's what the Packers were looking to do. So we're down to the final 3 picks of the draft. The next pick is the Buffalo Bills. What do you think the Bills are going to do here at 30?
So the Bills at 30, honestly, wide receiver, just because I don't think they were expecting this many good wide receivers to fall. Not that many wide receivers have gone so far in this. I would be have only 4 receivers gone so far in this draft? No, 5. 5 receivers have gone in this draft so far, which is insane for the depth of this class.
That's crazy.
And so
yeah.
I could see Rondale Moore, especially Rondale Moore, because they lost John Brown, and Rondale Moore seems like a very John Brown-esque player. Very physical, gonna catch the ball at the point of attack, and just goes after it. And playing opposite of Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen would have 2 amazing receivers to throw to, and I think it would just be a great combination.
I agree with you on that. I feel like that Buffalo could take a wide receiver here just because it's so deep, and I think they can take one of the best receivers just because they haven't been drafted yet. So that's very fortunate for them. Obviously, still a lot of edge pieces still available to be drafted. They could do that because they need a little bit of a pass rush. Defense is pretty solid, but one of their holes on their defense is their defensive ends. So that's a possibility for them, but I completely doubt it. I think you're right, though. I think they go wide receiver, losing John Brown. I think that they're going to need someone to run opposite of Stephon Diggs. They can get a solid receiver to run opposite Diggs. This team can be unstoppable next year. The Bills could be an amazing offensive team.
I completely agree.
They're still on the clock. They still have not made their second. Yeah.
That is true. They have 2 minutes left on the clock. We normally don't see this. It's 2 minutes left. I mean, they're not just going immediately like most of these teams are. And so, I think that the Bills are going to draft a wide receiver. They could also look to maybe I wouldn't be surprised to see an edge rusher here because their edge rush isn't great. Or maybe a linebacker because they did sign Matt Milano, but they don't really have anyone to play opposite of him. And so
That's true.
I'm just curious to see, what they can do with it. Nick Bolton might be a good pick here. I'm just curious to see what happens with this pick for the Bills at number 30.
Honestly, they might take a corner here too. Tyson Campbell's still available. They need someone to run opposite Tre'Davious White. I honestly don't know who's running opposite Tre'Davious White right now at cornerback. So I feel like Tyson Campbell could be a great cornerback too for them if they're trying to lock on their defense. That's also a possibility right here. Not Newsome, but Campbell falling this far in the draft. Really surprising to me. But yeah, definitely a possibility that Campbell also will go here. But more than likely wide receiver just because that is such a big need for them. And it looks like the pick is finally in for the Buffalo Bills. I wonder what they're going to take. Well, another need, honestly, is running back. Javonte Williams is still available, so they could take him right here as well. Do you think there's any chance to take a running back at pick 30?
I would hope not, just because they have taken several running backs over the past couple of years. They have Zach Moss, they have Devin Singletary, and I just don't see why they would need to take a running back here. Javonte Williams is the top running back available right now, and I just don't see how he would help their team nearly enough to justify a first-round pick. Really, I think they have to go receiver or it's not worth it. If they don't go receiver, it's not worth a first-round pick right now. They've made the pick so clear they're confident in whoever they just picked, so we're about to see.
That's a fair point. All right, so he's walking up there. Let's see what pick they decide to take. So the Bills, with the 30th pick, decided to take. They got Gregory Rousseau. All right, defensive end from Miami. This dude is an absolute monster at defensive end. He is such a good pass rusher. Running opposite of the other defensive end taken earlier in this draft, whose name is escaping me. But sorry, but he sat out this season actually due to COVID concerns. But if you look at his 2019 tape, this dude was incredible. He is such a powerful pass rusher. Didn't necessarily get as many sacks as some of the other flashy running back pass rushers in this draft, but this dude is a very consistent, very hard-hitting defensive end. What do you think about this man?
It's like you said, he's big. This guy, I think he's like 6'7", and he uses his length to the max. His technique is not perfect, and that's why he's fallen so far. If his technique matched his athleticism, he'd be by far the number one edge rusher in this board. But as of right now, I feel like that the Bills got a good edge rusher who, if they can teach him the proper technique of how to just use his length to his advantage, then he can just destroy NFL offensive lines and just get to the cornerback. I think this is a great pick for Buffalo, and a player that, looking back in 2 or 3 years, we may call the steal of the draft.
I completely agree with you. This guy could be incredible. I think this is a great pick for them. Locking down their defense, I think they're going to make a run for the Super Bowl this year. This team is so good on every possible front you could imagine. Great quarterback, great receiver, one of the best defenses in the entire NFL, a good offensive line to protect him. There's not much more you could ask for this team. Solidifying their defensive line, making sure that they don't give their secondary. Their opposing team's offense is too much time with the ball. Great pick. I think he can create a lot of havoc on the inside of that defensive line. And just a great overall pick for the Bills right here. So the next pick we have is the Baltimore Ravens, the next to last pick of the draft. Obviously, the Ravens trading up to get here, actually, with the who did they trade with? It was the Chiefs. They traded with the Chiefs to get here. So what do you think they wanted to trade up with the Chiefs for to get right here?
So the Chiefs, obviously, they traded for Orlando Brown, and the Ravens are kind of in an overhaul of their entire organization. They realize that, hey, we've got Lamar in his prime, but we need to do something so that, we can actually leverage this. So they're overhauling their entire team. They're getting rid of every player that, could potentially, be worth something. They obviously got a first-round pick for Orlando Brown Jr., so I think that trade benefited both teams because the Chiefs then got their offensive tackle of the future, and I'm sure we've all seen, the meme of Thanos getting his last stone of the Infinity Gauntlet. It's just we're prepared for the Chiefs offense now, and so now, not enough people are talking about what the Ravens got. The Ravens got a first-round pick, and if they can leverage this on an offensive lineman, I'm going to be looking at Tevin Jenkins, the guy we've been talking about for a long time, for 15 picks now, from Oklahoma State University. I wouldn't be surprised if they went there with this pick, just because they need to replace Orlando St. Brown.
Okay, I completely agree with you on that pick. Now, an interesting thing they could do is take another wide receiver here and go double down on wide receiver and make sure Lamar Jackson has a ton of wide receiver options to potentially throw to. I'm looking at Rondale Moore or Elijah Moore going in the first round right here to complement the wide receiver they just took, or Terrence Marshall even. Terrence Marshall might be a great pick for them right here. I forgot he was available to complement the wide receiver they just took a couple picks ago. Yeah, that's also an option for them to do. What do you think about the possibility of them going wide receiver in this first round?
From a fantasy perspective, I'd love it just because, it gives Lamar more options, Let Lamar cook. Just, let everyone cook, but let Lamar cook because Lamar Jackson is far more talented than people give him credit for. People during the 2019 season finally saw what Lamar can do. In this past season, it's, people are mad at him. They're like, why didn't you repeat last year? Well, guess what? It's because everyone now understands that how good he is and to prepare for him. So I think that the more options you give Lamar to throw to, the better a quarterback he's going to be. And possibly by giving him more receivers, you open up more rushing lanes because there has to be more secondary on the field, which means there are less linebackers stopping Lamar from going 20 yards for a touchdown.
Yes, I completely agree with you on that. There's honestly a pretty decent chance to take a wide receiver here. Um, honestly, they could go in a bunch of different directions this way. And on this pick right now, they could protect Lamar. They could protect Lamar. They could give Lamar weapons, or they could just go to their defensive side of the ball and just lock in some positions. They have a lot of positions that are very locked down on defensive end, but a couple holes, not that many, but they do have a couple of holes on their defensive side of the ball. A couple things they can lock down, but nothing too major. This Ravens pick is going to be very interesting, though, because they did trade up for it. I wonder what they were thinking when they traded up for here.
Well, yeah, like when they traded back with the Chiefs for this pick, I'm not sure entirely what they wanted. Well, the pick just went in, so we'll know soon what they wanted. They could have doubled it to wide receiver. I
Okay.
wouldn't be surprised to see an defense right here. Uh, Possibly even like a. I wouldn't be surprised necessarily to see a safety. They're trying to find Earl Thomas's replacement. So I mean, Trayvon Moore, he's a good safety. He could develop into something amazing in the NFL. So the sky's the limit with that guy. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's the way the Ravens went with the 31st overall pick.
That's true. That's true. They might do that. We will see. Is it going to be line? Is it going to be safety? Is it going to be receiver? What did you guys do, Ravens? What did you guys come up with? All right, let's see. Roger Goodell, I believe he's about to take the stage. See what's going to happen. Only 2 more picks left. 1 more pick after this one. What do you think that the Buccaneers are going to do next pick? You think they'll go quarterback?
I could see him going quarterback just to replace Tom Brady. But also another guy that I think would work well with them is Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Just because linebacker,
Okay.
They have linebackers already on their team, but Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is a coverage-based linebacker. And I think he'd work well in the Tampa 2 offense, which obviously because of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they leverage a lot. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah go the last pick in the first round to the Buccaneers.
Nice. I agree with your assessment. They have so few holes. They have such a good wide receiver core. They brought everyone back. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans. They brought back Antonio Brown. They have Tom Brady at quarterback. One of the best offensive lines protecting him right now. I mean, they could technically go Tevin Jenkins, just make sure they protect Tom Brady this season. That's a possibility as well. If I was to make a bet, that's probably what I would say would happen, just because everything else is so locked down. But I guess we'll just have to wait to see. Let's first see what the Ravens do. Roger Goodell's going on stage. He's about to announce what the Ravens decided to do with their last pick in the 2021 NFL Draft. Man, the pick is in. They're not picking though. Come on, get up on stage, buddy. I'll wait on you. Man, this has been a fun night. Long stream though.
It's been a
To
very
our
long
4 viewers
stream.
that are still with us, thank you guys for sticking it out with us. You guys,
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
good times.
We're almost at the 4-hour mark, man. So
Man.
those of you who've been here if you've been here for the entirety of the 4 hours, comment below. Just good job on you. You've listened to us somehow for 4 hours straight. That is something you need to be proud of. We don't know how you're still alive, so good job. And it looks like Roger Goodell has the pick.
Congratulations. All right, let's see what he has to say. Jason Oweh, all right. Linebacker from Penn State. This dude is an amazing linebacker. Didn't quite see that coming, but yeah. What do you think about Jason Oweh?
I really like Jason Oweh. He is a pure bull rushing edge rusher, and I think that they're either trying to find their replacement for Calais Campbell or to find their future Calais Campbell. So I'm not sure if he's even going to be a day one starter, but Jason Oweh is a very interesting prospect because he's a lot like Gregory Rousseau in that he has all the physical gifts needed to succeed. He just doesn't have the technique down necessarily, but I think that he's a lot more pro-ready than Gregory Rousseau, so I think he's going to succeed in this Ravens offense. Maybe not this year necessarily, but come the next 2 or 3 years, watch out for this guy because he's gonna wreak havoc every time you every time you go out on that Ravens field.
I completely agree with you at that assessment of him. They have a very good defensive line already, the Ravens that is, and I think that they're going to be able to teach him some stuff about how to pass rush. He's already a very talented pass rusher. I'm not sure if he's completely ready for the NFL yet, but definitely some good pass rushers there to teach him how to play at an NFL level at the defensive end position. So I think that's an overall great pick for the Ravens. I'm not sure if it's a pick I would have taken if I was the Ravens, but I can see what they were thinking when they took him right there. But yeah, I guess let's move on to the last pick of tonight's draft. We've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Their pick is actually already in. We're not going to be able to see it for a bit just because they're going to talk about the Ravens pick for a bit on TV, but the pick is in nonetheless. So I wonder what they'll take. They might honestly take a running back here if you think about it. Like someone like Trey Sermon or Michael Carter could go here. Javonte Williams has a chance of going here as well. They could get a running back. I feel like that might be a solid option for them just because running back is one of the weaker positions, despite Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones being the running backs. I know it sounds crazy that being their weak position, but they just have so many strengths. I think that could be a solid pick for them. But as you said, Wusa Kimura, also a good pick for them. A potential pick for them. All right, they're about to announce the pick. All right, the Buccaneers took Joe Tyron, the Washington linebacker. Okay, so he's 6'5", 259 pounds. I personally don't think he's worth the first-round pick, but I think that, as you said, linebacker is a position of need for the Buccaneers. I think this is a pretty solid pick for them. What do you think about this pick?
So I really like this pick because not enough people are realizing, but the Buccaneers, their edge rushers are kind of getting on in age. You got Ndamukong Suh. I'm blanking, but the other one I know is getting on in age as well. And Joe Tryon, when you watch his film, yeah, and so Joe Tryon is just such an athletic freak. He's able to do everything. He can bull rush. He can speed rush. The only concern that some people have is against higher level offensive linemen. He didn't succeed as much, but just sometimes he flashes, and it's just amazing. I really like this pick for the Buccaneers, and I'm excited to close out the 2021 NFL Draft first round with it.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for being with us. We had a great time with you guys. Be sure to subscribe down below if you guys want to see fantasy football content. I've got a bunch of stuff planned for you guys coming up very soon. But yeah, you don't want to miss that. Thank you guys for being with us for the draft tonight. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for joining me, Eric.
All right, it was a pleasure to be here, Dawson.